Sota suddenly woke up in a strange place above the clouds, unable to understand how he had arrived there. Moments earlier, he had been relaxing in his room watching anime, making the situation even more confusing. Before long, a beautiful woman with golden hair and unusual clothing appeared in front of him. She revealed herself as a goddess and explained that he was currently in heaven. While examining her status, Sota discovered astonishing divine power. The goddess informed Sota that he had been chosen to travel to another world. Soon after, she introduced herself as Aphrodite and explained her role as his guide. Confusion spread across his face as he struggled to understand the situation. Aphrodite instructed him to check his status and learn the details himself. Following her advice, Sota opened the status screen and prepared to examine the mysterious information before him. The status screen revealed that Sota had become a monster tamer with several unusual abilities. Aphrodite looked surprised by his class while he tried to understand what it meant. Soon, she explained that everyone in the new world received a role suited to their talents. Without hesitation, the goddess declared Monster Tamer to be a completely useless job. Hearing the harsh criticism, Sota realized her beautiful appearance hid an unexpectedly cruel personality. Sota denied being a shut, and yet the strange situation still left him uneasy. Gradually, the reality of heaven and the goddess standing before him became harder to doubt. His attention soon shifted to a skill called Capsule Ball, displayed on the status screen. After examining it, he learned the ability could capture and control monsters without danger from them. Curious about its use, Sota considered the explanation while Aphrodite watched from nearby. Following the explanation, Sota summoned a capsule ball and examined the strange item in his hand. Aphrodite explained that the tool allowed monster tamers to capture creatures with a certain chance of success. Rather than leaving immediately, he decided to conduct a quick test first. Without warning, Sota threw the capsule ball toward the goddess standing nearby. Surprise instantly appeared across Aphrodite's face as the ball flew directly toward her. Aphrodite confidently claimed the capsule ball would not affect her and expected it to bounce away harmlessly. Contrary to her expectation, the ball activated and pulled the goddess inside. Moments later, the capture was completed, leaving Sota stunned by the result. When he checked the ball, he found Aphrodite trapped inside at a tiny size. Although she desperately demanded release, Sota decided to keep her captured until she finished helping him. Sota struggled to understand the unexpected situation after capturing the goddess. Soon, excitement replaced confusion as he realized he had successfully captured a goddess. After being summoned to another world, Sota realized he had become a monster tamer. Sunlight spread across the landscape as he observed strange plants and the surrounding wilderness. A calm thought crossed his mind when he accepted that the summoning was not a dream. Following a nearby road, he hoped it would eventually lead to a city. The unexpected encounter marked the beginning of his first challenge in the unknown world. Facing the goblin, Sota hesitated and considered whether he should fight. After checking his status, he remembered his monster tamer class and noticed the capsule ball skill. Meanwhile, the goddess remained inside the capsule, confirming she had truly been captured. Recalling the summon command, he decided to experiment with the item. Moments later, the goddess emerged before him, proving the skill worked exactly as intended. The goddess appeared outside the capsule and looked around in confusion. Embarrassment soon turned into anger as she rushed towards Sota. Startled by the reaction, he tried to calm the situation. A nearby goblin caught his attention, reminding him of the danger still present in the forest. Sota asked whether the goddess possessed enough strength to handle monsters. With the goblin chosen as the first target, the test of her power was about to begin. Goddess stepped forward and attempted to unleash a divine blessing against the goblin. Raising her hand dramatically, she expected a powerful effect to strike her target. Sota watched closely from a safe distance. Confusion quickly appeared when nothing happened. Repeated attempts produced the same disappointing result. Before she could understand the failure, the goblin moved closer. Fear replaced her earlier confidence. Falling to the ground, the helpless goddess desperately sought protection from Sota. The goddess proved useless against the goblin, leaving Sota to handle the situation himself. Determined to test his class, he rushed forward, despite having little combat experience. One strong kick sent the goblin flying. To his surprise, the battle ended instantly, giving him an easy victory. Afro sat on the ground, looking discouraged after her divine power unexpectedly weakened. Nearby, Sota noticed her gloomy expression and tried to lift her spirits while observing the strange change. Hearing an awkward nickname, the goddess immediately protested and corrected him with visible irritation. After calming down, she suggested a shorter name and explained that it sounded far better to her. Meanwhile, Di revealed that divine beings could display their true power only in heaven. Di explained that her strongest divine attack could reduce creation to ashes. Soon after, she asked Sota to inspect her status, hoping to understand why her abilities had changed. Di developed a theory that Sota's divine protection was connected to the problem. She described divine protections as innate gifts, unlike skills that were gained through effort and training. Finally, the status details revealed absolute domination, a rare divine protection capable of ruling over creation when its requirements were met. After studying the status screen, Di asked Sota whether he had noticed a hidden detail within his divine protection. She explained that it broke the long-standing rule limiting monster tamers to basic monsters. A startling possibility emerged as Sota realized the power might even allow him to dominate humans and gods. He concluded that such abilities felt more like a flaw in the world's system than a normal blessing. Suddenly, Di spotted another unusual entry on his status. Sota examined his status and searched for the cause of his sudden rise in level. With confidence, Di claimed that capturing a goddess had granted him an enormous amount of experience. Soon afterward, she revealed that his increased strength could help them return home sooner than expected. The goddess then explained his true role as the summoned hero destined to defeat the demon lord. Hearing this, Sota was stunned because nobody had ever told him about that mission before. Di explained that heroes from Earth had been sent to this world for generations to face the demon lord's return. Sota asked whether his monster tamer abilities would disappear after returning home, according to Di, allowing him to bring captured creatures back to Earth. After thinking it over, Sota finally decided on a goal for his time in this world. Instead of focusing on the demon lord, he prepared to reveal a personal plan he wanted to pursue first. Sota finally revealed his true ambition using absolute domination to bring beautiful girls from this world back to Earth. Rather than saving the world immediately, he planned to build his ideal harem before facing the demon lord. Di reacted with shock and strongly disapproved of his selfish reasoning. Sota then argued that helping him was also in Di's interest, since her return depended on the demon lord's defeat, reluctantly agreed to assist with his unusual plan despite her objections. Thus, Sota and the goddess began their unusual harem-building journey together. Sota and his companion crossed the plains after earning valuable experience from recent battles. He noticed most attributes remained low, despite his level increasing steadily. A new appraisal skill appeared unexpectedly, but nearby movement quickly drew his attention elsewhere. Using the skill, he examined an approaching goblin and learned its level and abilities instantly. Seeing the monster's low level, Sota calmly judged the threat and prepared for another easy encounter. Curious about the reward difference, Sota decided to capture the goblin instead of defeating it. An hour passed as he continued using the capsule ball across the area. By the end of the hunt, 18 goblins had been successfully collected. Although the capture count increased rapidly, his level remained unchanged, suggesting his growth was already unusually high. Examining the capsule's interior, Sota discovered a vast space where the goblins moved freely under his watch. Sota asked about the limit of monsters he could control and learned it increased with his level. After calculating the numbers, he realized he could currently command up to 56 monsters. That discovery made him suspect his abilities were already far beyond normal standards, considering his strength and level. Sota concluded the creatures in the area posed little danger. A new concern soon appeared as he wondered whether the goblins he captured would actually obey his orders. Dei explained that monsters under a tamer's contract would always follow commands without resistance. Hearing that, Sota realized the rule might also apply to the goddess standing beside him. A mischievous idea crossed his mind, causing Dei to grow uneasy before anything even happened. Rather than acting immediately, he decided to test the effect through a harmless experiment. The unexpected request caught Dei off guard, leaving her confused as Sota waited for the result. Command took effect immediately, causing Dei to move before she fully understood what was happening. Embarrassment quickly replaced her confusion, and she angrily confronted Sota over the unexpected test. Dei reluctantly accepted the apology and treated the incident as a harmless experiment. Despite that, suspicion remained as she wondered whether his intentions had truly been innocent, leaving Sota surprised by how little practical knowledge the goddess actually possessed. Dei firmly rejected the idea, making it clear she never intended to become part of Sota's future harem. After reflecting on his behavior, Sota accepted his mistake and regarded Dat as a trusted friend instead. During their journey toward a town, Sota noticed the divine being beside him seemed lost in thought. Suddenly, she considered staying inside the monster tamer's capsule, instead of walking. She realized the capsule reduced the burden caused by her curse and offered greater comfort. Further discussion confirmed the curse restricted divine beings from displaying their true power on the surface. Pleased with the discovery, she chose the capsule as her place to rest while their trip continued. Although surprised by her decision, Sota accepted that Dei preferred staying inside the capsule during the journey. Later, she rested peacefully while a growing group of goblins gathered around her. Dee discovered Sota had increased the number of goblins to 37, leaving her astonished. Meanwhile, Sota pointed ahead and drew her attention toward their destination. At last, the pair reached a bustling town, marking the end of their long trip and the beginning of a new stage. After entering St. Bell, Trade City, Sota discovered he could read the local language. While exploring the streets, he noticed goblins and orcs performing labor instead of causing trouble. A rock turtle pulled a wagon through the city, revealing how monsters supported daily life. Curious about the unfamiliar sight, Sota asked Dei for an explanation. To his surprise, she admitted this was also her first visit to the surface, and knew little about the city herself. While walking through the city, Sota began wondering whether Dei's abilities were truly useful on the surface. The results revealed enormous vitality, but most of her information remained hidden behind an unknown skill. The skill concealed details from others, and prevented them from being viewed normally. Excited by the discovery, Sota imagined how her divine abilities could improve their future travels. Embarrassment quickly spread across Dei's face as his enthusiasm left her unsure how to respond. Dee admitted that one effect of her curse sealed away most of her abilities. Even so, Sota accepted the situation and understood why divine beings could not freely use their power in this world. Hearing his response, Dei became anxious and worried that he might abandon her. Relief quickly followed when Sota reassured her, leading Dei to cling to him while expressing her gratitude. After settling down, Sota decided their next priority was finding work, earning money. Reaching the Adventurers Guild, Sota prepared to begin earning a living. Sota arrived at the Adventurer Guild and checked the crowded job board. Unusual outfits drew attention as he stood beside Dei, whose celestial clothing contrasted with his school uniform. Meanwhile, curious gazes followed Dee throughout the hall, making her beauty the center of attention. Elsewhere, a cat girl named Chloe Grace appeared at the reception desk, and immediately caught Sota's eye. He asked about available work and prepared for his first guild experience with Dee nearby. After registering at the counter, Sota received his first guild card and completed the required information. Once the card was issued, Chloe explained its importance and introduced the guild's facilities. Next, she described how adventurers accept quests and earn higher ranks through achievements. According to the guild's rules, only capable members are promoted after proving their abilities. Meanwhile, Sota listened carefully before turning his attention toward the guild board. Following Chloe's instructions, Sota examined the guild board and searched for a suitable beginner quest, including goblin hunting, wolf subjugation, and medicinal grass collection. After reviewing the requirements, he learned that monster parts must be submitted as proof of completion, rather than fighting creatures immediately. Sota decided to look for a safer task that matched his goals. Eventually, he selected the medicinal grass quest and completed the acceptance process at the guild counter. Before leaving the guild, Sota received a beginner support set and useful materials for new adventurers. Later, he and Dee headed toward Kasser Forest, planning to gather medicinal grass for their first quest. Along the way, fearing their presence would attract unwanted attention. After traveling deeper into the forest, Dei grew tired from the long walk and requested a rest. Sota took out a mysterious ball, preparing a simple solution for the journey ahead. Using the mysterious ball, Sota summoned a large group of goblins to assist with the quest. He realized the growing goblin army could become a valuable source of support. Carefully, Sota showed them the medicinal grass guide and assigned them to gather the required plants. Following his instructions, the goblins immediately scattered through the forest and began searching, watching them disappear into the distance. Sota hoped his plan would succeed despite lingering uncertainty. Meanwhile, glowing eyes appeared in the darkness as goblins continued searching. The goblins gathered a large amount of herb plants, helping Sota collect materials much faster than expected. He noticed the goblins' natural instincts made them surprisingly efficient in finding useful items. Sota prepared to return and realized several goblins had not come back yet. Suddenly, rustling sounds emerged from the nearby forest, drawing his attention toward the missing monsters. Their fierce appearance revealed the truth, and Sota quickly understood that the missing goblins had been eaten. Seeing the wolves responsible for the attack, Sota decided they had to be punished. As 5 wolves surrounded him, he remained calm and relied on his numerical advantage. Without hesitation, he summoned his goblins and ordered them to charge. Although the wolves possessed greater physical strength, the goblins fought with determination and intelligence. Through coordinated attacks, the goblins overwhelmed their enemies and gradually gained control of the battle. After defeating the wolves, Sota celebrated the victory alongside his goblins and praised their teamwork. He captured one surviving wolf and started thinking about protecting his goblins from future attacks. Elsewhere, the goddess complained about carrying the heavy bag he had given her. Later, Sota explained that goblins could help against the demon lord, though their presence might attract attention in the city. Back home, he checked his status and noticed his monster count had increased. After checking his status, Sota discovered a new skill called Monster Merger. Excited by the possibility, he decided to test the new ability later that night. Before leaving, he received a reward of 40,000 ActionToon for completing the herb gathering quest at the guild. The staff praised his achievement and expressed admiration for his results. Gathering such a large amount of herbs in half a day was far beyond what most adventurers could accomplish. Hearing the guild receptionist praise his achievement, Sota felt pleased even though the goblins had done most of the work. Curiosity soon struck him, and he asked about the value of the local currency compared to yen. After learning the reward was worth a considerable amount, he realized he had earned impressive income in only half a day. As night arrived, the pair searched for a place to rest. They found an old room and immediately questioned the quality of the accommodation. After entering the room, Sota kept his money hidden while his monsters stayed nearby for protection. Meanwhile, the goddess settled inside the capsule and quickly fell asleep. With lodging secured and his monsters fed, he finally focused on his next task. Soon afterward, Sota activated the Monster Merger skill and began testing its effects. Sota suddenly noticed a strange system screen appear before him, leaving him surprised by the unexpected discovery. He found that even a goddess could be used in the monster fusion system. Curiosity briefly took over as he imagined combining a deity with a goblin, though he quickly reconsidered. Attempting the fusion brought an error message, forcing him to choose a different ingredient. Realizing his choices were limited, he decided to test a goblin-to-goblin combination instead. A successful fusion revealed a goblin elite, showing that combining goblins could unlock a stronger evolution path. Further experimentation uncovered the Goblin Knight, convincing Sota to use evolution carefully. Soon, dozens of goblins were upgraded, creating an army of goblin elites and goblin knights. Their appearance and equipment changed noticeably, reflecting their improved status and strength. After confirming no further evolution was possible, Sota entrusted them with tomorrow's tasks and ended the day satisfied. Under the moonlit sky, a young woman hurried through the forest, desperately trying to escape. Behind her, several pursuers closed the distance while she continued running despite her exhaustion. Fear filled her mind as she recalled how everything had changed after a certain person's disappearance. Meanwhile, the men worried their mission would fail if she managed to get away. Faced with losing their valuable target, they prepared their bows and decided to stop her at all costs. Under the moonlit sky, a young woman hurried through the forest, desperately trying to escape. Fear filled her mind as she recalled how everything had changed after a certain person's disappearance. Faced with losing their valuable target, they prepared their bows and decided to stop her at all costs. Girl noticed Sota heading away from the route toward Cassier Forest and wondered about his destination. Instead of explaining much, he focused on a place he intended to visit before starting the day's activities. Soon, they arrived at a guild-approved general store known as Silver Shield. According to information he had learned earlier, authorized shops offered lower prices. Upon entering the store, the pair were greeted by the owner, who welcomed them and asked what products they needed. Inside the store, Sota explained that they needed affordable clothes because her current outfit attracted too much attention. Hearing that, the girl became excited since it was her first time choosing clothes for herself. Meanwhile, she happily looked around the equipment section while Sota watched her reaction. Soon the shopkeeper presented several beginner adventurer outfits and shoes suitable for new adventurers. Sota approved the recommendation, and she quickly fell in love with the selected outfit. After seeing the recommended outfit, the goddess immediately rejected it because the design looked far too plain. Instead, her attention shifted toward a flashy and expensive outfit displayed nearby. She argued for the extravagant choice despite the original purpose of the visit. Sota praised her natural beauty and suggested that simpler clothes suited her better. Those unexpected words caught her off guard, leaving her flustered and unable to hide her embarrassment. Still embarrassed by Sota's compliment, the goddess admitted she was not used to receiving praise from others. After finishing their purchases, the pair left the store and prepared to continue their plans. She sought Sota's opinion and felt relieved when he approved her appearance. Both changed into practical adventurer clothing before heading toward Cassier Forest. Soon, they met a group of goblins and organized another day of gathering medicinal grass while carrying out their work. Sota also looked for new goblin companions to strengthen the group. Before long, he used his ability on a nearby goblin and successfully added another monster to his collection. As the search continued, the goddess quickly grew tired and decided to rest on the ground. He reminded her that they had only been working for a short time. She realized they still had not found any medicinal grass despite spending so much time in the forest. While resting in the forest, the goddess suddenly noticed something unusual high among the trees. Moments later, they discovered an injured girl hidden on a branch and rushed to investigate her condition. Sota noticed an unconscious girl stranded high in a tree and quickly decided she needed help. With no goblins nearby, he climbed up alone while his companion encouraged his effort from below. He carefully brought her down and discovered she was badly injured from a fall. Once she was safely on the ground, he began examining her condition using his appraisal skill. Despite her gentle appearance and maid outfit, her condition was poor and required immediate treatment. The appraisal revealed Carolina was a vampire, despite looking like a teenager. An explanation followed about demons who once served the Demon King and threatened humanity with their strength. After the Demon King's defeat, the surviving demons lost much of their power and went into hiding. A closer look at her injuries showed that her wounds were severe and her life was in danger. Although healing her directly was no longer possible, another method still existed. The elf explained that ordinary monster tamers could never capture a vampire, but the capsule ball possessed a powerful healing effect. Because of Sota's divine blessing, saving Carolina remained possible, despite her critical condition. A surprising truth emerged as the elf revealed that only Sota could help her now. Looking at the unconscious vampire, he pushed aside his doubts and chose not to abandon her. Sota activated the capsule ball, allowing its healing power to take effect on Carolina. After capturing Carolina, Sota gained a large amount of experience, leveled up, and successfully added the vampire to his monster list. Although confused by the unexpected outcome, he examined Carolina inside the capsule and wondered how this encounter would affect his journey. Sota looked over the harvested herbs and felt satisfied with the day's results. Meanwhile, the goblins gathered medicinal plants at a remarkable pace, leaving large sections of the forest nearly cleared. Recognizing the shortage of herbs, he decided to end the work and sent the goblins back to rest. Suddenly, a spirit appeared and proudly claimed credit for helping him reach this point. She offered assistance in carrying the herbs, hoping her contribution would finally be acknowledged. Facing a huge pile of herbs, Sota realized carrying everything would attract unwanted attention despite his monsters. Meanwhile, the goddess seized the opportunity and pushed for recognition, hoping her help would finally be rewarded. Rather than arguing, he recalled his absolute domination skill and considered a different solution. Experimenting with the capture ball, Sota stored the harvested herbs inside, astonishing the goddess. Excitement quickly replaced doubt as he discovered the item limit did not apply. Noticing Sota's reaction, the goddess quickly tried to dismiss her earlier remarks and ease the tension. He accepted the explanation and praised her growth instead of pressing the matter. However, a new concern emerged, as she wondered whether his increasing strength would make her unnecessary. Overcome with panic, the goddess clung to him and promised greater support in the future. Later their quest concluded successfully, earning a reward of 64,000 toll and marking a profitable day. After receiving the quest reward, Sota completed the transaction and drew admiration from the guild receptionist. Meanwhile, several adventurers recognized him as the newcomer who had arrived with an unusual companion. Aware of the attention, he decided to leave and search for different work since the medicinal herbs were exhausted. Along the way, a young girl offered apples for sale, catching his interest. Feeling hungry, Sota bought several apples before continuing home with the goddess beside him. Sota enjoyed the sweet taste and appreciated the girl's hard work. Suddenly, a shout interrupted the peaceful moment and drew his attention. Moments later, a group led by Bakraja approached while searching for a girl shown in a portrait. Recognizing the face, Sota realized the target was Carolina and understood the situation was becoming serious. A group of slave traders searched the town for Carolina and questioned anyone who might know her whereabouts. Soon after, the men confronted Sota and introduced their powerful leader while demanding information. He listened carefully as the strangers warned him about the consequences of disrespect. Meanwhile, the traders revealed that Carolina had escaped after being purchased at an auction. After hearing the full story, Sota realized she had fled to avoid a life of slavery. As the slave traders left, they warned Sota that lying about Carolina would bring severe consequences. Nearby residents expressed relief that the group had departed without causing further trouble. After learning Sota was new to town, a local quietly advised him to stay cautious around Bakraja. Further details revealed the man's cruel treatment of slaves, explaining why Carolina desperately escaped. Moments later, the group spotted Carolina selling apples, bringing their search to an unexpected end. Across the square, Sota recognized the young girl the traders had been searching for. Before anyone could react, Bakraja seized her hand and tried to drag her away under the guise of punishment. Stepping forward, Soda calmly asked the man to leave the frightened child alone. Although he understood the danger, he could not ignore the injustice unfolding before him. Enraged by the interruption, Bakraja turned his attention towards Soda and prepared to assert his authority. Soda stood firm beside the girl, refusing to overlook the danger surrounding her. Suddenly, Bakraja drew a weapon and moved against him, forcing a direct confrontation. Suddenly, a knife flew towards Soda, putting him in immediate danger while everyone nearby reacted in shock. Meanwhile, the attacker realized something unexpected had happened. As the strike failed to reach its target, Soda's monster stepped forward and blocked the attack, revealing the power of a monster breeder. Without hesitation, the furious man launched another slash, trying to overwhelm the small defender. Monster dodged repeatedly while Soda assessed the situation, and the attacker prepared for a larger assault. Trusting his goblins, Soda ordered them forward while nearby civilians hurried away from the conflict. In response, dozens of goblin knights appeared and formed a protective wall around the crowd. Seeing their numbers, the attackers froze as the battlefield suddenly shifted in Soda's favor. Armed with gathered weapons, the goblins charged ahead and quickly overwhelmed the enemy group. Desperate to regain control, the leader seized a young girl and threatened her life to stop Soda. Soda agreed to listen, but before complying, he tossed a strange ball toward the hostage-taker. Moments later, bright light burst from the object and forced the man to release the frightened girl. As confusion spread, Soda calmly activated the item's special ability and targeted his opponent. Without warning, the man was pulled inside the ball and trapped despite his resistance. After the threat disappeared, the townspeople remained safe, leaving Soda surprised by the unexpected outcome. Relieved after the danger passed, the rescued girl thanked Soda and reached out to him with a bright smile. He reflected on the frightening power of his special ability and its potential consequences. Soon afterward, a familiar voice called out and drew his attention across the street. Hesitation appeared on the princess's face as she struggled to express her thoughts. Gathering her courage, she finally admitted that Soda had looked slightly impressive during the incident. Surprised by the princess's praise, Soda stood speechless as their relationship grew slightly closer. Later, she walked ahead confidently while he followed, and together they searched for lodging before nightfall. After a profitable day hunting goblins, Soda rented a better room and finally enjoyed a proper bath. While checking his capture list, he reviewed the monsters obtained that day. Soon his attention shifted to Carolina Burton. Her wounds had healed, yet she still remained unconscious in bed. Soda approached and checked on her. A slight movement followed as she slowly rolled onto her side. Faint memories surfaced, showing signs that her awareness was gradually returning. As Carolina slowly woke up, she mistook Soda for someone from her memories and looked at him in confusion. Realizing her mistake, she quickly sat up and apologized for the misunderstanding. After learning she was staying at the St. Bell Inn, Carolina remembered being rescued from the forest and sincerely thanked him. Introductions followed, and the two finally exchanged their names. Carolina asked whether she could repay the kindness Soda had shown her. She revealed that she had been brought to the kingdom as a slave. Gathering her courage, she asked to remain by Soda's side and assist with daily tasks. Beyond household work, Carolina promised to help earn money and support his future expeditions with her combat abilities. Checking her status, Soda confirmed that her abilities were remarkably strong for her level. After some thought, he accepted her request, believing she would be safer with him than alone. Carolina happily accepted Soda as her master and began addressing him that way. Without hesitation, she promised to obey any request he made and dedicate herself to serving him. Hearing such devotion, Soda struggled to process her words and became visibly flustered. Stepping closer, Carolina renewed her pledge with complete sincerity and vowed to do her utmost for him. Although tempted by the situation, Soda realized her loyalty might create problems if he lost control of the moment. While discussing Carolina's future, Soda was interrupted when a woman emerged from the bath and entered the room. Surprise quickly spread as Carolina realized the unexpected visitor had awakened. Moments later, shock turned into alarm when Carolina recognized the woman as a divine, being standing before a demon. After questioning the mysterious woman's identity, Soda learned that Dei recognized a divine presence hidden behind her appearance. Meanwhile, Dei explained that gods and demons existed as opposing forces. Shock spread across the room as Carolina realized a famous Olympian goddess had appeared before them. Unfortunately, the situation became complicated. Soda had already formed contracts with both a god and a demon. While Carolina listened carefully, Soda prepared to explain their true circumstances and future plans. Carolina agreed to support Soda's mission, while Dei promised to help with everything she could. Afterward, A simple request led to a calmer atmosphere, and Carolina left to freshen up before continuing the discussion. While changing, she reflected on Sota's unusual ability to gain divine allies. Suddenly, a memory connected Sota to the great demon lord, leaving Carolina stunned. Since their first meeting, traces of that legendary ruler had seemed to surround him. As Carolina recalled her past, memories of serving the great demon lord resurfaced. Gradually, a bold conclusion formed in her mind. Sota seemed to carry the same presence and spirit as her former master. While relaxing in the bath, she remembered a prophecy, claiming the demon lord would one day return. According to that prediction, Sota would eventually awaken forgotten powers. Excitement overwhelmed her thoughts as the possibility felt increasingly real. Sota realized his growing group of companions required more money to support. With that goal in mind, he headed toward the Adventurers Guild to search for suitable work. At the same time, concern about running low on funds pushed him to check the latest quests. Inside the guild, several requests caught his attention. The board offered tasks involving medicinal mushrooms, amoeba slugs, and light mush monsters. After examining the details, he noticed every target could be found in the Zumeria swamp. That discovery made planning much easier. Seeing that all the quests shared the same destination, Sota decided to complete them together, and prepared for his next expedition. 2 hours later, Sota arrived at the Zumeria swamp and began searching the area for quest targets. After confirming nobody was nearby, he took out the monster ball and prepared to release his companions. Moments later, the girls appeared from the ball and happily enjoyed their freedom. Their excitement quickly ended when a mushroom monster was spotted nearby. The creature turned out to be a light mush, one of the monsters listed in the guild quest. Sota checked its abilities and judged it to be manageable. She hoped to subdue the monster without killing it, and stepped forward to begin the fight, determined to prove herself. Carolina rushed toward the light mush and launched the first attack before the monster could react. Instead of retreating, the creature released a cloud of spores. Sota immediately realized the battle was more dangerous than expected. Without hesitation, Carolina responded by unleashing powerful wind magic. A swirling gust spread across the field and overwhelmed the area. As the storm intensified, the spores were blown away before they could reach their targets. The light mush was left exposed and unable to counter-taking. Advantage of the opening, Carolina leaped forward with confidence. Meanwhile, the confused monster struggled to understand what had just happened. Carolina closed the distance and struck the light mush with a precise kick, forcing the monster onto the defensive. Rather than finishing it off, she carefully controlled her strength and knocked the creature down without causing serious harm. Satisfied with the result, Sota praised her performance and recognized that she could handle future battles on her own. With the first quest target subdued, the group prepared to continue deeper into the swamp and complete the remaining requests. Using the same method that worked on medicinal herbs, he prepared everyone for the task ahead, to improve efficiency. He ordered the goblins to assist with the harvest while participating in monster subjugation at the same time. Soon, a large number of captured monsters appeared. The sight shocked his companions, who had never seen such a massive collection before. Only then did Sota learn that even skilled monster breeders usually control no more than 3 monsters, making his achievement highly unusual. Meanwhile, the goddess proudly noted that Sota's success was possible because of the special support and advantages he had received. Sota divided the group into smaller teams and assigned each member a role. Confusion spread among his companions as they watched him organize the operation. Several goblins and a wolf were placed under DE and Carol's command. Their task was simple: protect the team while gathering materials. After a short time, a goblin returned carrying medicinal mushrooms. Pleased with the result, Sota prepared for the next step of his plan. Using a captured slave trader stored inside a special item, he summoned the man into the field. A light mush appeared before the trader. Moments later, it released numbing spores and leaped forward, beginning Sota's experiment. The light mush released its numbing spores, instantly paralyzing the slave trader. Watching the result, Sota realized the monster's ability was far stronger than expected. After checking the skill details, he learned the spores could affect targets from a short distance. With the criminal unable to move, Sota considered what to do next. Keeping him imprisoned was possible, but storage space inside the capture ball was limited. Further inspection revealed a disturbing skill requirement connected to multiple human deaths. Even while completely helpless, the slave trader showed no regret. His desperate attitude only strengthened Sota's resolve to deal with him permanently. Sota refused to release the slave trader, yet he also chose not to kill him. Instead, he searched for another solution that would prevent further harm. After some thought, he decided to reincarnate the criminal through monster fusion. The man listened in confusion, unable to understand the plan. Selecting the captured slave trader as a fusion ingredient, he began the combination process. Bright light surrounded the man's body as the transformation started. Fear quickly replaced his defiance while the fusion took effect. Moments later, a werewolf emerged from the glow. Surprised by the successful result, Sota examined the newly created monster and its abilities. The fusion was a success, and a werewolf appeared before Sota. Impressed by the result, he recognized the creature as a powerful new addition to his collection. After testing its behavior, Sota confirmed the werewolf obeyed his commands. With its strength and loyalty proven, the monster quickly became his most dependable fighter. A huge pile of light mushrooms filled the clearing after the harvesting work was completed. To Sota's surprise, the goblins cooperated perfectly and gathered far more materials than expected. Soon afterward, his companions arrived with proof that the mushroom extermination quest had been finished. While checking the rewards, he realized the amount of collected materials was too large to carry home normally. Using a capsule ball, Sota stored the mushrooms with ease. Amazement spread across the group as the harvest disappeared instantly, leaving the field clear once again. Moments after the harvest ended, DEI suddenly vanished, leaving Sota and the others confused. Far away, an enormous amoeba slug appeared and captured DEI with its sticky body. Seeing her trapped, Sota quickly assessed the monster and realized it was stronger than any creature he had faced before. Without hesitation, he threw a capsule ball at the giant slug in an attempt to rescue her. Unexpectedly, the capture failed. Only then did Sota notice the ball had merely brushed the monster instead of striking it directly. After noticing the distance was too great, Sota came up with a new plan to save DE from the monster. Meanwhile, Carolina confidently prepared her attack and coordinated with Sota to create an opening. As the battle continued, DE suddenly reacted strangely, while the amoeba slug tightened its hold around her body. Soon, the creature began removing her clothes, leaving everyone shocked by its unexpected behavior. Rather than showing concern, Sota focused on the monster itself and swore to make it pay for targeting his companion. After the failed rescue attempt, Carolina noticed Sota's reaction and began suspecting what was on his mind. Without warning, she walked toward the amoeba slug while Dee remained trapped in its grasp. Moments later, Carolina allowed herself to be caught as well. Shock spread across the field as both girls ended up in the monster's hold, leaving Sota completely stunned. Sota realized Carolina had also been captured, making the situation far more serious than before. Nearby, the strange monster moved freely while he searched for a way to help. Meanwhile, Carolina was restrained by the creature's tentacles, as it examined her with unusual curiosity. Caught off guard, she struggled, while the monster swiftly removed parts of her clothing. From a distance, Sota recognized the creature's habit and understood what it was doing. Soon after, another captive was dragged into the same predicament, leaving both women trapped as the bizarre monster continued its actions. Bound by numerous tentacles, the two women struggled helplessly and desperately waited for rescue as the monster kept them restrained. Their pleas finally snapped Sota out of his distraction. Realizing the danger could become far worse, he focused on saving them immediately. Observing the creature carefully, he noticed every tentacle was occupied controlling its captives. An opportunity had finally appeared. Without hesitation, Sota threw a capture sphere toward the distracted monster, aiming to end the situation before it could react. Moments later, the attempt succeeded. The creature was identified as an amoeba slug, a weak aquatic monster, and Sota successfully added it to his collection. Freed from the monster's grasp, the two women collapsed in relief and celebrated their survival while praising Sota's quick actions. After returning to town, the group reported their success and officially completed the expedition without further incidents. Besides finishing the mission, Sota reviewed the monsters he had captured, including several light mushrooms and the newly acquired amoeba slug. Later, thoughts of Chloe's praise lingered in his mind as he walked through the city, reflecting on the day's achievements. Soon afterward, the guild delivered the expedition reward, granting the party a payment of 76,000 LAL for their efforts. Back at the guild, Chloe thanked Sota for another successful mission and praised the impressive results he had achieved. While reviewing the collected materials, she admitted that no adventurer she had seen before could gather resources so efficiently. Hearing her constant encouragement, Sota began paying closer attention to her kindness and supportive attitude. Encouraged by those thoughts, he gathered his courage and invited Chloe to have dinner with him that evening. Instead of reacting with concern or surprise, she responded calmly, leaving Sota confused as he struggled to understand relationships, despite his growing success as an adventurer. After leaving the guild, Sota decided to spend part of his reward on shopping. Following closely behind, Carolina and another companion joined him as they headed into town. Remembering that Carolina had few personal belongings, he offered to help her purchase anything she might need for daily life. Grateful for the opportunity, she explained that her current outfit made movement difficult and hoped to find something lighter. A moment later, Carolina shyly added that she also needed new underwear, making Soda realize the trip required careful planning. Before long, another girl expressed interest in shopping as well, turning the simple errand into a group outing. The group arrived at a licensed guild store to begin their shopping trip and search for the items they needed. After entering the shop, Sota led the two women inside, while considering the requests they had mentioned earlier. Soon afterward, they reached the lingerie section, where Carolina and her companion started examining different options as the shopping trip continued. After learning that Athelhide had underwear similar to those on Earth, Sota became interested in the idea. At the shop, two girls began looking through the available designs. Their attention quickly settled on different styles that matched their personal tastes. While one preferred cute and colorful patterns, the other favored elegant and more daring designs. Several options were brought forward for comparison. Faced with the final choices, Sota carefully examined both sets. Neither selection seemed clearly superior to him. As the evaluation continued, the small group remained focused on deciding which design would be the better choice. Unable to stay with them, he was quickly sent away and left to wander on his own. While looking around the town, his attention shifted to a goblin knight's weapon. The simple wooden club seemed weak, yet he wondered if it could become useful in battle. Curiosity led him into a shop, where he asked whether there was a weapon that even a beginner could handle comfortably. Instead of recommending the displayed item, the shopkeeper hesitated and explained that something about it felt unusual, according to the merchant. The store was not meant for weapons, and the club had only remained there because no scout had found a better place for it. After leaving the weapon shop, Sota learned that another store in St. Bell offered free maintenance services. Just then, the girls finished their shopping and reunited with him. Attention soon shifted to Carol, who appeared in a new ranger outfit with sturdy leather boots. Seeing her reaction, Sota assured her that the purchase was worthwhile. Her hard work made the reward feel completely justified. While examining the outfit, he noticed several details that matched Carolina perfectly. The design balanced practicality with comfort for adventuring. Moments later, Ethelhide compared the prices and realized Carol's equipment had cost far more than her own purchase, leaving her visibly frustrated. Although Ethelhide complained about the price difference, Sota promised to buy her something another time. With their shopping nearly finished, Sota decided to visit one last place before returning home. The group headed toward a weapon shop that had been recommended earlier. As they approached the location, Ethelhide hesitated and suggested skipping the visit. Her reaction made the others curious about the reason. Soon, an old building labeled as a weapon shop came into view. Its worn appearance made it look very different from the stores they had visited before. Unfortunately, the shop was closed, preventing the group from entering and learning more about it. As the group stood before the closed weapon shop, a young gnome girl stepped outside. The bright sunlight seemed unfamiliar to her. Unexpectedly, the child introduced herself to the visitors. Her appearance and confidence quickly caught everyone's attention. Rather than being a customer, she revealed a surprising connection to the shop. Sota and the others struggled to believe what they were hearing. Soon, the mystery was solved when the girl identified herself as Seal Alterod, the owner of the weapon shop. The unexpected revelation left the group stunned. An elf girl was startled when two striking women arrived in the village, drawing everyone's attention. Their appearance left a strong impression, and the villagers quietly admired their extraordinary beauty. Meanwhile, Sota returned with the women, only to be stopped before he could continue on his way. Soon after, one of the women called out to him and revealed that she had already made a decision. Ignoring Sota's earlier plan, she eagerly led him toward a nearby weapon shop, determined to begin her own adventure preparations. Inside the weapon shop, the elf girl welcomed the group warmly. While admiring her confidence, one of the women assumed the shop owner must also possess excellent blacksmithing skills. Rows of weapons filled the room, creating a far better selection than ordinary stores. Although the exterior looked messy, the interior was carefully arranged and easy to browse. Faced with countless options, Sota struggled to decide which weapon would suit the group best. Noticing his hesitation, the elf girl stepped forward and offered guidance for beginners, unfamiliar with weapons. After hearing her suggestion, Sota explained that the weapon was not intended for him, leaving the elf girl surprised and curious. Thinking carefully, the elf shop owner suggested choosing a weapon for the goblin knight. She explained that very few people bought weapons for monsters, so stores rarely prepared equipment for such unusual customers. Recalling his experiences, Soda realized she was right. Among all the monsters he had encountered, goblin knights were the only ones capable of properly wielding weapons. Interested in the idea, he asked to see the cheapest beginner weapons available before making a decision. One by one, the goblin knight tested several bronze weapons and a shield. Watching the results, Soda became impressed by how naturally the monster handled every option. After seeing the goblin knight equipped with different weapons, Soda was impressed by the result. The monsters looked far more capable, and he began imagining a future army of heavily armed goblin knights. Satisfied with the prices, he purchased one of each weapon and several shields. The shop owner happily prepared the order without delay, before leaving. She handed him a customer card and explained the store's maintenance service. Their business concluded smoothly, and both sides expressed gratitude for the successful transaction. Stepping outside the shop, Soda took a deep breath as the quiet town stretched before him, marking the end of another productive day. After a successful day, Soda returned to rest. Although his level remained unchanged, he discovered that he had gained a new skill called Contact. Carefully reviewing the skill details, he learned that it allowed communication with tamed monsters within a limited range, making it highly useful for future adventures. Excited by the discovery, Soda prepared to test the skill immediately, hoping to strengthen coordination with his monster companions. Soda decided to test a newly acquired telepathy skill, facing the two girls. He silently sent a message into their minds and waited for a reaction. One girl felt deeply impressed, while the other confirmed that Soda's thoughts were reaching her clearly. Encouraged by the result, he asked for help practicing the ability. Excitement filled the room as the elf happily accepted the role. After considering the request, the girls agreed to support his training. Their cooperation gave him a better understanding of the skill. A realization soon struck him. Telepathy proved far more useful than expected, leaving Soda pleased with the successful test. While testing the telepathy skill further, Soda realized communication only worked when messages passed through him. Satisfied with the experiment, he thanked the girls for their help. The result confirmed that the skill could still be useful in many situations. With the testing finished, daily life resumed. One companion headed for a shower while Soda planned to take care of some laundry. Before leaving, he reviewed the monsters he owned and considered possible combinations. New fusion options quickly caught his attention. Among the results, a strange plant-type monster appeared. Curious about its unusual abilities, Soda began examining its information more closely. After reading the monster's unusual abilities, Soda decided they needed proper verification. He prepared to test whether the information was accurate. Using his breeding skill, he completed the fusion and summoned a new creature called Mad Mush. The monster looked familiar, though its appearance had changed slightly. Rather than rushing ahead, he carefully observed the creature. The altered mushroom hat was the only obvious difference from its previous form. While reviewing the listed abilities, a troubling possibility crossed his mind. Testing the power directly on his companions seemed far too risky. By combining telepathy with the monster's ability, Soda realized accidents could be created without anyone tracing the source. While thinking about the monster's special ability, Soda noticed a woman entering the room. Acting on impulse, he ordered Mad Mush to use its power. The creature released spores, and the effect quickly spread across the room. A moment later, confusion appeared on the woman's face. Soda realized the spores had reached a much wider area than he had expected. Before he could react, she moved closer under the influence of the ability. The unexpected response left him completely unprepared. As the effect intensified, she struggled to control herself. Watching the result unfold, Soda understood that the skill was far more dangerous than he had imagined. Overwhelmed by a strange influence, Soda and DE struggled to control their emotions as they faced each other in silence. Under the effect of Mad Mush's chaotic powder, the unexpected situation grew more intense while neither could calm their racing thoughts. Seeing Dee's appearance at close range, his focus slipped away, and reason slowly gave way to temptation. Drawn closer by instinct, she leaned over him, while he remained frozen, unsure how to react. With her feelings taking control, Dee moved nearer and asked for patience, leaving the moment hanging on the edge of change. A bucket of cold water rushed across the room as a figure hurried toward the bed without hesitation. Moments later, the water drenched Soda and Dee, abruptly breaking the heated atmosphere that had trapped them. Shock replaced confusion as both realized their compromising position. Embarrassment spread instantly, and Dee quickly tried to distance herself. Without another word, the newcomer turned and headed for the door, leaving an uneasy silence behind. Anger then surfaced as she issued a fierce warning, making it clear that anyone who threatened her master would face serious consequences. Gradually regaining her composure, Carolina admitted that she was struggling to keep her emotions under control after the earlier incident. Meanwhile, Sota noticed fragments of her thoughts through their contract skill, revealing feelings she usually kept hidden. As the situation settled, Carolina explained that cold water had stopped the mushroom's influence and shared what she knew about its effects. Gathering her courage, she asked him to consult her first whenever he needed to test a skill in the future. Finally, Carolina expressed her determination to stay by his side, refusing to run away no matter how difficult or embarrassing things became. Caro's reaction left Sota puzzled, and he realized their connection revealed more of her thoughts than he expected. Later that night, the memory lingered in his mind. Unable to find an answer, he lay awake, troubled by her smile and the events of the day. A newly posted emergency quest offered 3 million coals for defeating a cockatrice in Kashrus Forest. After learning the request had just been added, Sota decided to gather more information before taking action. Chloe explained that the cockatrice was a dangerous carnivore that attacked enemies with scorching breath. While considering the threat, Sota compared it with stories from his world and carefully assessed the monster's abilities. Hearing about the huge reward, his companions encouraged him to accept the quest, but he chose to wait and complete easier missions first. Sota explained that dangerous quests naturally offered greater rewards, though he preferred avoiding unnecessary risks. His cautious attitude quickly annoyed one of his companions, who complained that he always acted too conservatively when facing powerful monsters. Further discussion revealed how terrifying the cockatrice truly was. Even skilled adventurers struggled against it, and its destructive power could threaten an entire village. Before the conversation could continue, a familiar voice caught their attention from across the street. Nearby, a frightened girl was being harassed and forcibly dragged away by a suspicious man, prompting concern from the group. Noticing the disturbance nearby, Sota realized a young girl was in trouble and decided not to ignore the situation. Before stepping forward, he instructed his companions to stay back and keep Carolina safely hidden inside her ball. Approaching the scene calmly, Sota asked what was happening. The frightened girl recognized him, while the angry man warned him not to interfere. Instead of backing down, Sota listened as the man claimed he was only collecting a debt and had done nothing wrong. The truth soon emerged. The girl's late father had borrowed 3 million coal and vanished, leaving her burdened with a debt she could never repay alone. Debt collector suggested selling the property to recover part of the missing money, but the girl firmly refused to give up the place left behind by her master. Unable to repay the debt, she reluctantly offered to work as a slave to settle the amount owed. Shock spread through the crowd as the collector regretted accepting monthly payments and realized he had lost a valuable opportunity. While the argument escalated, Sota suddenly connected the situation to himself and began suspecting that he was the cause of the entire dispute. After piecing together the situation, Sota realized Carol's dismissal had ruined the men's store's profits, leaving Seal to bear the consequences. A troubling conclusion formed in his mind. His actions had led to Carol's dismissal and even turned Bakaraja into a werewolf. Faced with the results of his decisions, he accepted responsibility and prepared to make amends. With determination replacing hesitation, Sota brought up the debt and asked to handle it himself. Rather than taking him seriously, the others questioned what someone like him could accomplish, while Seal looked on in surprise. Although 3 million coals was a huge amount, Sota knew there was only one way to solve the problem. Instead of backing down, he requested 3 days and promised to gather the money himself. Doubt quickly spread among the others. To prove his sincerity, he offered an advance payment and accepted the risk of losing it if he failed. While Shiel worried about him, Sota calmly took responsibility. Even after hearing his resolve, the man remained unconvinced and expected nothing to change. Without wasting time, Sota changed his plans and set off toward Kashrus Forest with his companions to find a solution. After reaching Kashrus Forest, Sota revealed his plan to hunt dragons and earn a large reward. Alarmed by the idea, Seal explained that the cockatrice was a powerful demon whose scales were valuable enough to be used in royal armor. Even so, Sota refused to abandon the mission. As they continued deeper into the forest, curiosity led Sota to ask why Seal managed the shop alone. A painful history emerged. Her master, a skilled blacksmith and adventurer, had left 2 years earlier to fight a demon tribe and never returned. Hearing the story, Sota finally understood her situation and offered quiet reassurance. Trying to ease Seal's worries, Sota confidently claimed that he was strong enough to defeat a cockatrice, despite his ordinary appearance. Doubt immediately appeared on Seal's face as she struggled to believe his bold declaration. Before Sota could explain further, the others admitted that he did not look trustworthy at all, making the situation even more awkward. Aphrodite suddenly came to his defense, insisting that he possessed the blessing of the goddess of love and beauty and could be relied upon. The unexpected praise left Sota embarrassed while Seal watched in confusion as the group continued through the forest. While traveling through the forest, Aphrodite teased the group by praising Seal's hidden beauty and claiming she could prove it. Moments later, Aphrodite revealed details about Seal that surprised everyone, demonstrating her divine eye ability and leaving Seal embarrassed. Sota learned that Aphrodite possessed the rare divine eyes, a skill held only by divine beings. The revelation immediately caught everyone's attention. Soon after, she demonstrated the ability by accurately identifying a hidden detail about Ciel, leaving the others embarrassed and surprised. Curiosity grew as Sota recalled that Aphrodite had supposedly lost access to her skill because of a curse. Meanwhile, the group discovered that the skill not only evaluated abilities but also exposed unusual personal information. An idea formed in his mind, and he considered borrowing the power. Unfortunately, Aphrodite attached a humiliating condition, forcing him to reconsider immediately. Frustration overwhelmed Sota as he imagined the trouble the divine eyes could cause. The strange ability seemed more dangerous than useful. Later, Carolina unintentionally provided another example of the skill's effect. A vivid image appeared in Sota's mind, leaving him completely stunned. Embarrassment faded as the group returned to planning their exploration. Attention shifted toward tracking a valuable cockatrice somewhere in the area. While discussing the hunt, an unexpected sound echoed through the forest. Instinctively, Sota stopped and listened for movement nearby. Moments later, the source revealed itself. Emerging from the trees, a pack of 7 wolves surrounded the path and forced the group to prepare for battle. Facing the pack of wolves, Sota decided against capturing them. Instead, he prepared another strategy and reached for a capsule. A group of goblin knights appeared at his command. Equipped with newly upgraded weapons and armor, they rushed forward to confront the enemy. Without hesitation, the goblins launched a coordinated attack. Sharp blades and disciplined movements quickly overwhelmed the wolves. Within moments, the battle ended. Several wolves lay defeated on the ground, proving the effectiveness of the goblins' equipment. As the goblin knights completed their mission, Sota dismissed them and thanked them for their efforts. The surviving wolf revealed an unexpected truth. Carolina explained that her kind needed the blood of living animals to survive. After hearing the explanation, Sota chose not to interfere. Relief appeared on Carol's face as she received permission to do what was necessary. Nevertheless, she felt embarrassed about being seen during the process. Hesitantly, Carolina asked Sota to look away while she fed. Understanding her feelings, he agreed without complaint. Turning his back, Sota reflected on how unusual the situation had become. Silence settled over the forest as Carolina began feeding. Nearby, the others waited patiently, while Sota stood guard and respected her request. Suddenly, a massive creature descended from the sky, drawing everyone's attention upward. The peaceful moment ended as the group realized a dangerous monster had appeared. Moments later, the cockatrice revealed itself and unleashed a fierce cry, assessing its strength. Sota recognized it as a powerful target and prepared for the encounter. A powerful cockatrice suddenly appeared, and its overwhelming presence forced everyone to retreat in panic. Seeing the danger, Sota quickly ordered his companions to stay inside the capsule balls and avoid the battlefield. Meanwhile, the goblin knights arrived and escorted the frightened group toward a safer location while Sota prepared a plan. Without hesitation, he threw an instant capture capsule ball at the fierce monster, trusting his special ability to succeed. Unfortunately, a strong gust from the cockatrice's wings knocked the capsule ball away, leaving Sota searching for another chance. Facing the cockatrice alone, Sota hesitated as the monster advanced. Retreat seemed impossible, yet staying put could cost him his life. Suddenly, a giant snake lunged from the side and wrapped itself around the bird, interrupting its attack before it could strike. Only then did Sota realize the cockatrice had ignored him from the start. Its attention had been fixed on the dead wolf nearby, treating it as prey. Relief spread through the group as the immediate danger passed, and they gathered around Sota to check his condition. While tending to his injured arm, everyone began discussing a new strategy to overcome the powerful monster. After treating her wound, Sota learned that the vampires could track blood scents from great distances, giving the group a valuable clue. Using her ability, Carolina traced the smell from the wolf's body and estimated the cockatrice's location several kilometers away. A new idea formed in Sota's mind. Knowing the monster's whereabouts meant they could prepare a proper plan instead of chasing it blindly. Grateful for her help, he praised Carolina for becoming an important ally during the dangerous situation. Meanwhile, another companion quietly listened as Sota reflected on how useful Carol's unique talent would be in the battles ahead. Determined to help, Seal insisted on proving her value to the group. Seeing her enthusiasm, Sota decided to entrust her with an important role in their plan. Confident in her abilities, Seal eagerly accepted the assignment. Meanwhile, Sota began preparing a special request that could support their next move. With the necessary pieces coming together, he finalized his strategy and turned his attention toward defeating the cockatrice. 2 hours later, Sota and his group arrived at the cockatrice's nest and began preparing their plan to overthrow the monster. A foul odor filled the area as they discovered corpses trapped within the tree, showing how long the cockatrice had lived there. To lure the monster away unnoticed, the group tied the beautiful elf girl to the tree as bait while Sota organized the mission. Confusion quickly spread when she realized she had become the decoy, while the others reacted to Sota's unexpected decision. Despite her hesitation, Sota explained that only her beauty could attract the cockatrice and make the operation succeed. Sota defended his strategy and insisted that the cockatrice lure operation required someone exceptional. Believing her beauty surpassed that of ordinary girls, he chose the goddess as the perfect decoy. Silence followed as the group waited for her response. The goddess listened carefully while Sota stood firm beside the tree. A smile soon appeared on her face. Accepting the role, she confidently reminded Sota how often he relied on her help. Rather than arguing, he laughed and admitted that the mission needed a decoy more than anything else. Deep down, Sota had another reason. Her incredible life force made her the safest choice for such a dangerous task. The group teased Sota for turning the goddess into a scapegoat, but he ignored their remarks and focused on the mission ahead. Although he appeared calm, guilt lingered in his mind. Success would require a reward worthy of the goddess's cooperation. Soon, Sota gathered his monsters and explained the operation. Facing the dangerous cockatrice, he asked for their full support. After checking the wind direction, he confirmed that the conditions were perfect and prepared to begin the attack. At his command, Mad Mushi released confusion powder toward the nest. Moments later, the irritated cockatrice reacted and emerged from its hiding place, with the confusion powder taking effect. The cockatrice entered a heated state and rushed toward the goddess. Forcing herself to follow the plan, she tried to charm the cockatrice despite her embarrassment. Every movement was aimed at keeping the beast focused on her. Instead of approaching gently, the cockatrice launched itself forward at full speed. The sudden charge caught her completely off guard. A nervous smile faded from her face as the raging monster closed the distance within seconds. Panic quickly replaced her confidence. Bound to the tree, she desperately wished for Sota's rescue, while wondering what his real plan was. A giant cockatrice cried for help as danger approached from behind. Hearing the call, Sota quickly turned his attention toward the battlefield. Without hesitation, he ordered the goblin knights to form ranks. Nearby, the cockatrice prepared itself while the small army moved into position. Soon afterward, the goblin knights rushed forward and struck together. Their coordinated attack forced the cockatrice to react, and momentarily halted its movement. Meanwhile, Sota confirmed that the creature had been subdued. Light mush, then scattered powder, but the effect barely slowed the powerful monster. Realizing the front was paralyzed, yet still dangerous, Sota commanded the goblins to restrain the cockatrice. With the cockatrice paralyzed, Sota's plan began to work. Goblin knights surrounded the creature, cutting off every possible escape route. Seeing the opening, Sota signaled Carolina to attack. She leaped forward from above, while the goblins kept the monster trapped in place. A powerful strike landed directly on the cockatrice. The blow shook its massive body, leaving it unable to fight back effectively. Silence followed the attack as everyone watched the result. Even Sota and his companions seemed surprised by how quickly the battle had turned. Moments later, the monster collapsed completely, satisfied with the victory. Sota praised his allies before the group prepared to move on. Back in town, the defeated cockatrice drew attention from everyone nearby. News of Sota's achievement spread quickly, and many people gathered to see the rare monster. After evaluating the capture, the guild rewarded Sota with a large payment. At the same time, defeating the cockatrice increased both his level and the strength of his companions. Rather than taking all the credit, Sota acknowledged the efforts of Carolina and the monsters who fought beside him. Soon afterward, another companion stepped forward and tried to explain something important. Her sudden interruption caught everyone's attention. As the details were reviewed, the group began investigating what had attracted the monster in the first place. After reviewing the situation, the group realized the cockatrice had approached because it was preparing to raise its young. Meanwhile, attention shifted to DEI as the discussion continued. An unusual conclusion emerged, leaving everyone momentarily stunned. In the end, the group accepted the explanation and reflected on the recent events. With the mystery resolved, they prepared for whatever challenge awaited next. After arriving at the Bacaraja firm, Sota delivered the money and received 3 million KL as repayment for Seal's debt. However, the branch manager inspected the payment and immediately judged that the amount was far from enough. Confused by the reaction, Sota listened as the manager explained that the debt had grown because of accumulated loan interest. Realizing the situation, he asked how much more was required to settle everything completely. Instead of giving a fair answer, the manager revealed his true motive and demanded that Seal become his slave if the remaining money could not be prepared. Before Sota could respond, Seal stepped forward and produced another 3 million KL from her own savings. Calmly, she explained that the money had always been intended for Sota and believed her debt would finally be cleared. With the matter settled, Seal apologized for the trouble and prepared to leave alongside him. Suddenly, the manager stopped them and shamelessly changed his position, claiming the total debt had risen to 5 million KL. Hearing the outrageous demand, Sota realized the man never intended to honor the agreement and was only searching for another way to exploit Seal. Seeing the manager refuse every reasonable offer, Sota decided there was no point continuing the discussion and prepared to leave with Seal. Instead of backing down, the manager threatened Seal and tried to force her to remain until more money could be produced. Stepping in front of her, Sota told Seal to stay back and confidently accepted the challenge. His calm attitude surprised her and unsettled the manager. A monster capsule appeared in Sota's hand as he revealed that he possessed strength beyond what others expected. Moments later, a fierce werewolf burst into the room and charged toward the stunned manager. After defeating the manager's resistance, Sota reclaimed the money and left, ensuring Seal was finally free from exploitation. After returning from a quest, Sota learned that the weapon shop had been sold and became curious about the reason behind it. Hearing the price, he wondered whether giving up the shop was truly the right choice for its owner. Meanwhile, the elf explained that finding her missing master mattered more than managing the business any longer. Understanding her situation, Sota agreed that searching for the master was the better path and listened to her request. Without hesitation, she asked to accompany him, hoping the journey would finally lead her closer to her master's whereabouts. Saishul eagerly asked to travel with Sota, offering her blacksmith skills and support for the journey ahead. Although grateful, Sota reminded her that their mission involved hunting dangerous demons. Repaying her debt was not necessary, yet she insisted on joining. After confirming her determination, he checked whether she was truly prepared for the hardships ahead. A firm answer removed his doubts. Moments later, Sota instructed her to turn around. Before she understood his intention, he activated a mysterious action from behind. Suddenly, a strange force enveloped Shiel and transported her elsewhere. Confused and startled, she found herself alone in an unfamiliar place. After the sudden transfer, Seal found herself in a strange area where Aphrodite and Carolina were already waiting. Their presence only deepened her confusion. Moments later, Sota's voice reached her mind through a mysterious connection, leaving her shocked and searching for answers. He explained that she was inside a capsule space and could communicate with him anytime through a special contact ability. Although puzzled by the arrangement, Shiel learned that staying there would make traveling easier and safer for everyone. Further details revealed additional benefits. The capsule could provide rest, prevent hunger, and even restore her condition while Sota continued the journey. After hearing Sota's explanation, Shiel finally accepted the arrangement and agreed to remain inside the capsule during the journey. Satisfied with the outcome, Sota proudly celebrated recruiting a talented blacksmith, viewing her addition as a valuable gain for the team. A peaceful morning began in the town as the day slowly unfolded. Suddenly, Sota woke up and lost his balance, crashing onto the floor in confusion. Looking around, he noticed a blonde girl sleeping nearby. Hunger seemed to be the only thing on her mind even in her sleep. Elsewhere in the room, two other girls rested comfortably, revealing how close they had become to him during their journey. Faced with the unexpected scene, Sota could only stare silently as he tried to understand the situation. Sota looked up and found all three girls asleep together on the bed. The strange sight left him completely stunned. Realization quickly hit him. Although the situation looked like a dream, he knew he could never stay calm surrounded by so many girls. After gathering himself, he apologized and brought up a matter he wanted to discuss before they left for the day. The topic surprised the girls. Sota pointed out that they had been spending more time outside instead of sleeping in the ball before. One of them explained that the space inside had become too cramped and uncomfortable, so she preferred resting elsewhere. Carolina explained that she stayed outside the ball to keep watch over Aphrodite. She worried that another sudden incident might happen if the goddess became confused again. Meanwhile, Aphrodite quickly defended herself, insisting the previous accident had been completely unintentional. As Sota listened, he realized each girl had a different reason for remaining outside. Loneliness and boredom seemed to be the common cause. Gradually, an idea formed in his mind. With everyone paying attention, Sota asked what they would like to have inside the ball. Without hesitation, Aphrodite requested a large, fluffy bed, hoping to make the space far more comfortable than before. Carolina suggested adding books to the ball, believing a variety of reading materials would help everyone stay entertained. Meanwhile, Shiel proposed gathering supplies and tools so she could spend time crafting stronger weapons. After listening to every request, Sota organized the ideas into a list. Although the items seemed achievable, the cost would require a considerable amount of money. With a goal in mind, he decided to accept a new quest and earn enough funds to improve life inside the ball. After a long effort, Sota received a promotion to F rank and was warmly congratulated by the guild receptionist. Confusion crossed his face as he learned that adventurers normally needed a year to reach the same rank. According to the guild's evaluation, his success in the cockatrice subjugation quest greatly boosted his standing. With the promotion complete, the receptionist informed him that several new quests had become available. Curiosity led him to the quest board, where mining requests for various ores promised different rewards and new opportunities for growth. Excitement quickly filled Sota's mind as he noticed the mining quests and calculated the potential rewards from rare ores. Among all the options, platinum ore stood out the most, offering a far greater payout than iron, silver, or gold. Without wasting time, he returned to the counter and chose the mining quest as his next objective. However, the receptionist explained that the task required a pickaxe and a pocket lantern, both of which had to be purchased beforehand. The total cost shocked him. Equipping 4 people would require 28,000 culls, forcing him to reconsider his plans before entering the mine. Although the equipment cost weighed on his mind, Sota remained determined and hoped to gather enough ore to recover the investment. 2 hours later, he arrived at the Arl's mine with his companions and surveyed the vast mining site spread across the rocky landscape. Meanwhile, Carolina explained that mining activity had declined as demon attacks increased, causing many workers to leave the area. After hearing the explanation, Sota praised Carol's knowledge and gained a better understanding of the mine's situation. Suddenly, Seal's excitement burst forth. The familiar sight of the mine reignited her passion, and she eagerly prepared for the work ahead. Seal's sudden excitement caught the group off guard, leaving everyone wondering what had sparked such unusual energy. As they continued talking, Sota learned that gnomes shared a deep connection with earth and stones, making the mine a special place for Sealto. Her valuable ore was more than a resource. The minerals hidden within the mine were a source of genuine delight and fascination. Realizing how eager she was, the others quickly understood that her enthusiasm came from personal passion rather than the quest itself. With preparations complete, the party set their goal on gathering valuable ore and began their mining expedition with renewed determination. Upon entering the cave, Sota and his companions found the surroundings completely dark. A sign ahead hinted that fortune could be gained with a single strike. Remembering the required item, he took a pocket lantern from his inventory ball and prepared to use it. Before he could act, Carolina raised a finger and produced a glowing sphere through magic. The bright light illuminated the cave. She explained that the spell, called flashlight, could keep the area lit for several hours. Impressed by her skill, Sota praised Carol's usefulness. Regret soon followed as he realized the lanterns he had purchased were no longer needed. While exploring the cave, Dite called Sota over and revealed that she had already gathered several pieces of ore from the area. Excited by her discovery, she proudly presented a shiny stone and expected it to be something valuable. After taking a closer look, Sota identified it as nothing more than an ordinary stone, despite its polished appearance. Confused by the result, he questioned why she relied on such an inefficient method instead of using a more practical skill. Dite explained the heavy magic cost. Sota checked another sample himself. The inspection revealed crude iron ore, confirming that her judgment remained unreliable. Hoping for better results, Sota showed another stone to Seal and asked for her opinion. After examining it, she concluded that anything truly valuable would not have been left behind in the cave. That assessment lowered the group's expectations. Even so, they decided to continue searching instead of giving up rather than relying on luck. Shiel grabbed a pickaxe and began mining the cave walls herself. Her effort quickly uncovered rich deposits of copper and iron ore. Seashell then revealed that gnomes could detect ore by smell, making the search far easier than anyone had imagined. Realizing how useful Seal's ability was, Sota became excited by the prospect of finding large amounts of ore and earning a fortune. Without thinking, he moved closer and eagerly asked Seal to guide the group to richer deposits. His intense enthusiasm immediately made her nervous. Embarrassment quickly replaced his excitement when he noticed her reaction. Concerned about upsetting her, he stepped back and tried to calm himself. Meanwhile, Carolina and Dite exchanged uneasy looks after watching the interaction from a distance. A shared determination soon formed between them. Rather than standing aside, the two girls decided to start digging as well and prove their own usefulness. Seeing Carolina and Dite join the mining effort, Sota felt encouraged as the group worked together with renewed determination. While exploring a cavern, Sota's group discovered a wall filled with valuable ore. Excitement spread as they realized the tunnel held useful resources. Eager to help, the elf girl volunteered to handle the mining. Confidence showed on her face as she prepared to demonstrate her skill. Surprise crossed Sota's expression after hearing her claim. Even the others seemed unsure whether she could meet such expectations. Proudly, she revealed that mining had once been her specialty in a game. With a pickaxe in hand, she confidently began her demonstration. Instead of striking the wall, her swing went wildly off course. Chaos followed as the failed attack startled everyone nearby. After the failed mining attempt, Aphrodite kept swinging the pickaxe with enthusiasm. Her movements drew attention, but the ore remained untouched. Concerned by the situation, Seal stepped forward and offered to take over before any resources were damaged. Meanwhile, Aphrodite looked disappointed as her role was replaced. In contrast, Seal quickly earned praise for her apparent expertise. Without wasting time, Seal approached the wall and unleashed a precise strike. Fragments of rock burst apart as her technique exposed the hidden ore. Moments later, a large mass separated from the wall and dropped onto the ground. Silence filled the cave as everyone stared at the impressive result. Watching the mining process, Carolina suggested destroying the entire wall with magic to save time. Frustration grew as the group struggled to work efficiently. To prevent further trouble, Seal ordered Carolina and Aphrodite to stay back and leave the mining to her. Several hours passed, and a large amount of iron and copper ore was successfully collected. The hard work finally produced worthwhile results. Hearing the news, Carolina became excited about crafting weapons for the goblins. Sota welcomed the idea and appreciated the resources they had gathered. Soon afterward, Sota noticed Aphrodite was missing. According to Seal, she had gone off alone to gather ore by herself. While discussing Aphrodite's disappearance, the group suddenly heard a loud scream echo through the cave. Alarmed, they rushed toward the source of the noise. Deep inside the tunnel, Aphrodite was found trapped by strange rock monsters. Unable to escape, she struggled as the creatures held her in place. Arriving at the scene, Sota and the others recognized the monsters immediately. Concern spread through the group as they prepared to rescue Aphrodite from the unexpected threat. A frightened girl called for Sota's help while a strange puppet-like monster held her in place. Seeing the situation, he quickly prepared a capture orb and focused on the creature threatening his companion. Without hesitation, the orb flew forward as he tried to separate the monster from its target and secure it safely. Moments later, the capture succeeded. Relief spread through the group as Sota confirmed that one monster had been obtained. Before anyone could relax, several puppet monsters suddenly emerged from the ground and surrounded the party from every direction. Carolina stepped forward and unleashed ice magic, freezing the puppet monsters before they could escape. Sharp crystals spread across the battlefield, trapping the creatures and stopping their sudden attack. Sota watched as Carolina quickly gained control of the situation. Taking the opportunity, he threw capture orbs toward the immobilized monsters and struck them one after another. Several hours passed as the group continued their hunt and carefully gathered more of the strange creatures. By the end of the search, Sota had captured 3 mad puppets and obtained 2 more later, leaving the party satisfied with their results. Exhausted from the long expedition, the girls decided to rest while Sota planned to return once he reached the inn. After parting from the group, he looked around the quiet mining area and considered using the empty space for an experiment. Instead of heading back immediately, Sota activated his monster, merging ability to test the creatures he had recently captured. Reviewing their information, he selected 2 mad puppets and prepared them for evolution through fusion. A new monster soon appeared from the process. The evolved Dougador stood before him, proving that combining identical monsters could create a stronger species. While reviewing the evolution system, Sota realized that merging 2 Dougadors might produce an even stronger monster. The fusion succeeded, and a massive golem appeared before him. Its overwhelming strength immediately surpassed every monster in his collection. Encouraged by the result, Sota decided to gather more mad puppets and continue pursuing higher evolutions in the future. Later, he checked the rewards from the mining expedition and calculated the earnings each member would receive. Walking through town, Sota reflected on the day's work and concluded that collecting rarer metals would bring greater profits on the next expedition. With new earnings secured, Sota walked through town and decided to complete a request before returning to the inn. While shopping with Deity, Soda noticed she seemed distracted and asked what was wrong. Remembering his promise, he bought her new clothes and thanked her for helping during the cockatrice hunt. The gift left her feeling shy but pleased. Soon after, Deity showed off her new outfit. Although Soda thought it looked ordinary, he still found her naturally pretty, which made her even more flustered. Without warning, she grabbed his hand and hurried him along, eager to finish shopping and return to the mine. Their trip ended at the guild's official magic tool shop, where a cheerful clerk welcomed them inside. Inside the magic tool shop, Soda explained that they wanted a bed as soft and fluffy as possible. The clerk happily guided them to the bedding section. As they walked past several displays, the clerk introduced luxurious bedding made from rare angel cotton. Meanwhile, curious onlookers began watching the pair. Their attention made Soda suddenly realize how they appeared together, causing him to grow embarrassed. Soon, the clerk presented the shop's finest bed. Its comfort sounded incredible, but the enormous price shocked Soda. After hearing the cost, Deity immediately rejected the purchase and considered it far too expensive. Rejecting the expensive bed, Deity examined it more closely. Her expression quickly changed as she noticed something unusual about its materials. Rather than accepting the shop's claims, she pointed out that only a small portion of the bed was actually made from angel cotton, while the rest consisted of cheaper materials. Further inspection revealed similar issues with the pillow and blanket. As a result, she concluded that the entire product description was misleading. Hearing her explanation, Soda was amazed by her sharp eye and newfound expertise. Just as they prepared to leave, the nervous clerk stopped them and offered a rare item that seemed better suited to the pair. Although Soda tried to deny the misunderstanding, the clerk remained convinced that he and Deity were a couple. Soon, the clerk revealed an unusual bed. Beneath its luxurious appearance, however, it had been cursed with dangerous spores that could transform a person into a ravenous wolf. Instead of being alarmed, Deity found the strange product surprisingly impressive. Meanwhile, Soda immediately objected to the idea. Determined to continue the discussion, Deity silenced his complaints and focused on hearing the clerk's explanation. As the negotiation continued, Soda struggled to understand her interest while quietly worrying that the purchase could lead to serious debt. While examining the cursed bed, Soda suddenly pulled Deity closer. The unexpected contact left her flustered. While the clerk watched the scene with excitement, seeing their reactions, the clerk became even more convinced that the two shared a special bond. After offering an apology, the clerk politely saw them out of the shop. Their visit ended without making a purchase. Hoping to cheer her up, he asked whether she could wait a little longer for the fluffy bed she wanted. As they continued walking through town, concern grew in Soda's mind as he wondered if the failed purchase had disappointed her more than she showed. After leaving the shop, Deity remained focused on finding a sturdy bed, while Soda quietly considered her unusual concern. Aphrodite happily wandered along the mountain path, humming a strange tune while admiring herself. Nearby, the others noticed the sudden change. Confused by her unusually bright attitude, they wondered what had caused it. Curiosity grew as Carolina asked about the odd song. Attention quickly shifted to Aphrodite, whose expression suggested she was hiding something important. After some teasing and hesitation, the topic turned toward love. The goddess appeared unusually shy, hinting that recent events had affected her deeply. With a blush, Carolina admitted she had loved the same person for over 300 years, leaving everyone stunned by the revelation. Soda reacted in disbelief after learning that Carolina had loved the same person for over 300 years. He quickly decided to change the subject. A new topic came to mind as the group continued deeper into the area. Rather than dwell on romance, Soda asked about finding valuable ore. Advice was needed if he hoped to collect something rarer than ordinary silver. Seal explained that richer deposits could be found farther inside the mine, though the danger of getting lost increased with every step. While the others considered the risk, a hidden creature emerged from the darkness. Its appearance suggested that finding rare ore would not be their only challenge. Carolina revealed that the bats living in the cave had already mapped the mine. Thanks to their scouting, the group gained a reliable guide to the deeper passages. Her preparation impressed everyone. Seal openly praised Carol's efficiency, while Soda looked surprised by how thoroughly she had handled the task. Moments later, the bats swarmed around Aphrodite. The chaotic scene raised suspicion, leading Soda to wonder whether Carolina was secretly controlling them. That assumption proved wrong. As the group moved forward, strange puppet-like monsters began appearing, showing that other creatures inhabited the mine. Before long, the narrow tunnel opened into a vast cavern, faced with the unexpected space ahead. While exploring the cavern, Seal suddenly detected an overwhelming concentration of rare ore hidden behind a nearby wall. Excitement spread through the party as the possibility of striking a fortune became real. Without hesitation, Aphrodite eagerly volunteered to break through the obstacle. Rushing forward, she slammed into the wall with full force. The impact achieved nothing, leaving her sprawled on the ground with numb arms and wounded pride. Carolina examined the surface and determined that the rock formation was far too sturdy for ordinary mining tools. Towering over the cavern floor, the massive creature became the key to overcoming the seemingly unbreakable wall. Soda ordered the golem to destroy the wall, blocking the rare ore. Trusting the monster's strength, the group stepped back and watched the plan unfold. With a single powerful strike, the golem shattered the rock barrier. Debris scattered across the cavern, leaving everyone stunned by the result. Behind the broken wall, a hidden staircase was revealed. Rather than finding ore immediately, the party uncovered a mysterious passage leading deeper underground. After climbing countless stairs, Soda and his companions noticed the smell of ore growing stronger. At the end of the staircase, an old storage area came into view. Soda examined the place and wondered about its purpose. Rows of containers filled with platinum, gold, and silver ore stretched across the room. The discovery revealed a hidden treasure stockpile. Beyond the storage area, a massive underground chamber opened before them. Amazement spread through the group as they took in the enormous space. Meanwhile, one companion inspected the ore closely. Her examination confirmed that the platinum ore was genuine, proving the treasure's immense value. While examining the treasure room, the group realized the ore reserves were worth at least 400 million TL. The enormous value left everyone stunned. Shock immediately hit Suta as the number sank in. His excitement quickly overwhelmed him. Around him, the others reacted just as strongly. The scale of the fortune felt almost impossible to believe. Amid the celebration, a pile of human bones caught their attention. Unease replaced their excitement as they investigated the remains. After studying the scene, one companion suggested the chamber had once served as a miner's storage room. Examining the bones and hidden treasure, the group concluded that this place had been abandoned for hundreds of years. The evidence suggested a miner had secretly stored ore here. Based on the clues, they believed the miner had been stealing part of the treasure meant for the kingdom. A disaster must have sealed the entrance, trapping the miner and burying the secret for generations. Suddenly, a loose stone shifted above them. Concern spread as part of the ceiling began to crack. Without warning, rocks crashed down from the wall. Startled by the collapse, the group turned toward the noise and prepared for danger. Suddenly, a giant iron golem burst from the collapsing wall, towering above the group and blocking their escape route. While exploring an ancient ruin, Soda discovered a giant iron golem covered in thick layers of mud. Without hesitation, he ordered a capture ball toward the massive guardian. The projectile struck its body and bounced away without any effect. Confusion spread across the group as the capture failed. A closer look revealed that the ball had only hit the mud coating the golem. Gradually, Soda realized the armor of dirt had built up over many years of sleep, shielding the true body beneath. Before he could adjust his plan, the towering golem stepped forward and prepared to attack. The iron golem struck first, sending Suda crashing across the ground. Although he escaped serious injury, he quickly realized the monster's strength was far greater than expected. At that moment, Deity stepped forward and volunteered to handle the battle herself. Confidence filled her expression as she faced the towering guardian. A memory from her descent from heaven surfaced in her mind. Unlike before, her vitality had remained unchanged after arriving in this world. Because of that advantage, she concluded that the iron golem stood no chance against her overwhelming power. Soon after, Deity challenged the giant directly while Soda watched from behind, hoping her confidence was justified. The iron golem launched a heavy punch and sent Deity flying through the air. Soda watched in shock as the giant guardian pressed its attack. Rather than retreat, Deity called for Carol. Confidence remained on her face as she prepared a new strategy against the powerful enemy. Moments later, Carolina appeared above the golem and landed on its head. Her arrival surprised Soda, while Deity looked slightly annoyed by the sudden assistance. With a swift attack, Carolina stripped away the thick layer of mud covering the golem. The hidden metal body underneath was finally exposed. This time it struck the real golem, and the giant machine collapsed as the capture succeeded. After capturing the iron golem, Soda reflected on the battle and realized his companions had played a crucial role in securing victory later. The group celebrated their success together. Beside them, the newly captured iron golem stood quietly as their latest companion. A cat-eared girl apologized and explained that the ore he brought was too valuable to price immediately. Shock crossed his face as he misunderstood the situation, thinking the ore had little worth. Instead, the guild struggled, because releasing such a large amount of platinum could disrupt the entire market, causing panic among the staff. After hearing the explanation, he realized the shipment contained an extraordinary fortune. With the evaluation still underway, the guild requested more time to complete the purchase, and he patiently agreed to wait for the final decision. Leaving the guild, Sota informed his companions that the sale could not be completed immediately, and that all they could do was wait. Surprise spread among the group when they learned the process might take an entire week. Considering the huge amount of ore in their possession, he wondered whether another merchant could offer a fairer price. A different concern then crossed his mind as he asked whether handing over all the ore to the guild had been the right choice. With a calm smile, Seal explained that the ore would be useful for weapon crafting, even if it was not exactly the type they originally needed. Rather than returning to the inn immediately, Sota led the group outside the city and asked them to stay a little longer for another task. Curiosity arose among his companions when he revealed his intention to combine monsters. After learning the reason, they understood that releasing the monsters at the inn would be difficult, making the open area a better choice. Taking advantage of the successful day, he decided to start by merging the mad puppets into golems soon. An iron golem appeared from the fusion. Seeing the result, Sota prepared to combine it with another golem, and wondered what stronger form might emerge next. The second fusion produced an adamite golem, a far stronger monster whose immense size and power amazed everyone present. While the others admired the new golem, Seal quickly recognized the rare metal covering its body and reacted with disbelief. Realization struck her moments later when she understood that the entire golem was made from valuable adamite ore. Excitement replaced her shock as she imagined the possibility of crafting weapons from a material she had long admired. Hearing her enthusiasm, Sota asked whether the adamite could solve their resource problem, and the answer immediately confirmed his success. Carolina explained that extracting adamite would not be difficult because golems could rapidly regenerate any damaged parts. Hearing that, Sota entrusted the adamite golem to Seal and encouraged her to craft as many weapons as necessary. Overwhelmed by gratitude, Seal rushed forward and tightly hugged him without hesitation. Joy filled her heart as she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this opportunity, while Sota awkwardly accepted her thanks. Meanwhile, the others watched the scene in silence, their unimpressed expressions revealing feelings that were far less enthusiastic than Seal's. Unexpectedly, the adamite golem fulfilled Seal's wish, leaving the group satisfied as their journey continued. Seeing her unusual attire, he assured her it suited her well and encouraged her to choose any books she wanted. Hearing his sincere praise, Carolina became overwhelmed with happiness. The sudden rush of emotion caused her to lose consciousness for a moment. After recovering, she quickly apologized and admitted that his kind words had affected her more than expected. Meanwhile, Sota reflected on Carol's devotion and wondered whether her admiration for him sometimes went beyond simple gratitude. To explain his concern, he imagined how seriously she might take even an unreasonable request, leaving both of them in an awkward situation. Trying to explain his concern, Sota gave an extreme example. To his shock, Carolina immediately acted on it and began lifting her skirt without hesitation. Alarmed by her response, he quickly stopped her and insisted that she had misunderstood his meaning. Although confused by his reaction, Carolina quietly listened while trying to understand what had troubled him. Soon afterward, the pair arrived at a large bookstore to continue gathering information and books. Inside, a cheerful employee welcomed them warmly. As Sota asked about a clerk from the magic tool shop, the worker immediately recognized the name and confirmed the connection. The warm welcome felt unusual, and he suspected there might be more behind the clerk's friendly attitude. His doubts proved justified when the employee refused to show certain magic books, claiming they were too valuable for ordinary customers. Before Sota could respond, Carolina stepped forward and confronted the clerk. Anger flashed across her face as she challenged his disrespectful behavior. Grabbing the frightened employee, Carolina delivered a fierce warning, while Sota desperately tried to stop her. Only after calming down did she release the man and offer an apology. Even then, Carolina admitted she had nearly punished him for insulting her master. After the confrontation, the bookstore owner angrily threw Sota and Carolina out of the shop. A short walk later, they arrived at another bookstore. Although smaller than the previous one, Carolina believed the quality of books mattered more than the size of the building. Encouraged by her enthusiasm, Sota let Carolina explore freely and asked her to point out anything interesting she discovered. Rows of shelves quickly captured her attention. One book after another passed through her hands as she eagerly searched for worthwhile material. Comparing the collection to knowledge from her long lifetime, she concluded that the books offered little value for serious study. While watching Carolina browse the shelves, Sota suddenly sensed her thoughts through their connection. Assuming she was disappointed with the bookstore's selection, he suggested leaving and searching for better books elsewhere. His conclusion caught Carolina off guard. Embarrassed, She quickly denied that the books were the reason for her troubled thoughts. She explained that her people valued far more advanced knowledge, making most human books unsuitable for serious study. Sota responded with gratitude and reminded her how much she had helped him. The sincere appreciation left Carolina speechless as her face turned bright red. Overwhelmed by Sota's heartfelt appreciation, Carolina fainted once again, leaving him startled as he hurried to support her. Sota realized the guild payment would not arrive anytime soon. With money running low, he started thinking about finding another way to earn funds. While walking through the guild, his attention shifted to a newly posted quest. Interest quickly replaced his earlier concern as he considered taking the job. Upon reading the details, he discovered an urgent mission to defeat a wraith at St. Bell's Cemetery. Instead of excitement, the quest board attracted doubts from nearby adventurers. Even so, the possibility of earning 10 million coals remained tempting. Wanting to understand the mission better, Sota approached the receptionist and sought more information about the dangerous wraith quest. The receptionist explained that the wraith was an extremely dangerous demon. Reports claimed it could summon large numbers of undead. After hearing the details, Sota learned that the monster had already appeared at St. Bell Cemetery. Later, one of his companions was shocked that he had ignored a quest worth 10 million coals. The massive reward seemed too valuable to pass up, rather than chasing the money. Sota chose caution. Since guild payments would arrive soon, he preferred safer jobs over risking everyone's lives. Hearing his concerns, a trusted companion volunteered to handle the wraith herself, and asked him to leave the matter to her. The group explained that the wraith had abandoned the rules normally followed by demons. Because of that unusual behavior, they decided the threat could no longer be ignored. After listening carefully, Sota understood their reasoning. Respecting his companion's determination, he agreed to support her decision. A condition soon followed his approval. Rather than allowing her to face the danger alone, he insisted on joining the mission himself. Together they discussed a strategy for the battle. Confidence slowly grew as they considered using numbers and teamwork to improve their chances. As evening approached, the party set out for St. Bell Cemetery. Since the wraith only appeared at night, group traveled at night. One companion refused to stay behind, despite showing signs of fear. Meanwhile, another member noticed her uneasiness and teased her about being nervous around ghosts. The remark quickly drew everyone's attention. Rather than backing down, the goddess proudly displayed her confidence. Trust in her divine powers convinced the group that she could handle any supernatural threat. Soon afterward, she promised to protect the frightened companion during the mission. With spirits lifted, the party continued toward the cemetery and prepared for the encounter ahead. 30 minutes later, Sota moved through the graveyard at night, staying alert as the group advanced. Meanwhile, Seashiel nervously stayed close behind Aphrodite, while the eerie surroundings made everyone uneasy. Suddenly, Sota stepped ahead. Seeing this, Aphrodite quickly called out and hurried after him. Feeling left behind, she grabbed onto him and tried to keep pace, determined to remain by his side. Embarrassment crossed Sota's face as he urged her to calm down. Even so, Aphrodite remained close, while Seashiel silently watched the awkward scene unfold. Aphrodite quickly denied being afraid and insisted that hiding inside the ball would only make the quest feel unfinished. Unlike her, Seashiel honestly admitted her fear of being left alone and preferred staying close to the others. After hearing both explanations, Sota realized each of them had their own reason for remaining outside. Without warning, a noise came from a nearby bush. The group froze as one of Sota's companions sensed danger. Moments later, a flaming spirit emerged from the darkness. Startled by the sudden appearance, Seashiel clung to Aphrodite while the monster revealed itself. Fear finally took over as Seashiel grabbed Aphrodite and refused to let go. Watching the chaos, Sota decided the two would probably end up inside the ball again. At that moment, the flaming spirit rushed forward. One of Sota's companions immediately warned him of the incoming attack. Reacting without hesitation, Sota summoned an Adamite golem and ordered it to protect the group. The giant guardian stepped between the party and the spirit. Surprisingly, the monster only floated around and repeated the same movement. After observing it carefully, Sota concluded that the creature posed little threat. Instead, it appeared to be a wandering spirit acting on instinct alone. After studying the spirit's behavior, the group realized it only reacted to anyone who approached too closely. Wrath's earlier command was still controlling its actions. A plan quickly formed in Sota's mind. Since the creature was not actively hunting them, capturing it seemed possible. Even so, hesitation crossed his thoughts. Taking a monster that already belonged to someone else felt questionable. Pushing aside his doubts, Sota decided there was only one way to know. With a swift motion, he threw the capsule toward the floating spirit. Moments later, the capture succeeded. The spirit was absorbed into the capsule, proving that absolute domination worked perfectly on controlled monsters as well. With the spirit captured, Sota felt satisfied. The group advanced confidently, having overcome the cemetery's first obstacle. Sota successfully captured a Hito, Dama, and added it to his growing collection of monsters. After obtaining the fourth spirit, he continued searching alone while trying to locate the mysterious wraith leading the group. Voice suddenly echoed through the graveyard, causing him to stop and suspect that the wraith had finally appeared. To his surprise, the owner of the voice was standing nearby, unnoticed until she revealed herself right in front of him. Instead of a terrifying monster, the wraith turned out to be a young girl named Yuko, whose overwhelming abilities far exceeded Sota's expectations. Facing Yuko's overwhelming power, Sota considered capturing her before she could launch an attack. Without wasting time, he threw a capsule ball toward the floating wraith and watched it fly straight at its target. Unexpectedly, the ball passed through her body as Yuko effortlessly moved through the air. Confusion replaced his confidence when he realized the wraith lacked a normal physical form, making capture impossible. As the situation became clear, Sota understood he stood no chance in a direct fight while Yuko calmly observed his failed attempt. Realizing he could not win, Sota tried to buy time by attempting to negotiate with the powerful wraith. Ignoring his efforts, Yuko gathered a massive sphere of dark magic and prepared a devastating attack. With death seemingly unavoidable, Sota accepted his fate and quietly waited for the final blow. Before the spell could reach him, a familiar voice suddenly echoed across the battlefield. Moments later, Carolina appeared between them and blocked the attack, shocking Sota as her overwhelming vampire abilities rivaled the wraith's strength. Sota examined Carolina's new form and realized her power had risen far beyond anything he had witnessed before. Meanwhile, a familiar vampire appeared nearby. Memories of another monster's transformation made him suspect Carolina had undergone a similar evolution. As he checked the aftermath, relief replaced his concern. Although the armor was destroyed, the body remained mostly unharmed. Suddenly, the headmaid appeared in the cemetery. Her unexpected presence left everyone stunned. Under the moonlit sky, confusion spread among the group. The maid seemed strangely attached to Carolina, causing Sota to wonder how they had become acquainted. Yuko immediately apologized to Carolina and admitted her mistake. Despite the tension, Carolina remained calm and acknowledged how much Yuko had changed. Without hesitation, Yuko dropped to her knees and bowed deeply. The unexpected gesture surprised Sota as Carolina quietly watched. Rather than accepting the apology for herself, Carolina redirected it toward her master. Her loyalty and respect became clear to everyone present. Meanwhile, the headmaid was shocked by the scene. Seeing a demon bow before humans seemed completely unthinkable to her. At that moment, Carolina ended the argument. A cold warning from her silenced the objections and brought the discussion to a halt. Realizing his connection to Carolina, the headmaid immediately panicked. Shame overwhelmed her, and she threw herself to the ground to offer a sincere apology. While Sota struggled to understand the situation, Carolina calmly explained that the maid had once been her colleague. After exhausting herself with repeated apologies, the maid remained kneeling in silence. Her energy faded as embarrassment continued to weigh on her. Seeing her condition, Carolina stepped forward and requested permission to handle the matter personally. Satisfied with the explanation, Sota accepted the request. A sense of relief returned as Carolina gratefully took responsibility for her former coworker. After learning the full situation, Sota realized the conflict could have been avoided if Carolina had warned them beforehand. Nearby, Carolina informed Yuko that Sota had already shown mercy. Relief spread across the maid's face as she learned the punishment had been reduced. However, Carolina was not ready to let the matter end there. While her master had forgiven Yuko, she still intended to settle the issue herself. A serious expression crossed Carolina's face as she listed Yuko's offenses. Fear quickly returned when Yuko understood that judgment was about to begin. Beneath the moonlit sky, Yuko desperately pleaded for leniency while Carolina calmly prepared to carry out her decision. Carolina decided on a strict punishment for Yuko. Terrified by the sentence, Yuko could do nothing but accept her fate. Meanwhile, Sota watched in confusion as the discipline continued. The unusual scene made him realize demons handled mistakes very differently. Soon, the punishment carried on while Yuko desperately begged for mercy. In the end, the conflict was resolved, and calm gradually returned to the group. After the monster threat was eliminated, the group walked through town while discussing the aftermath and the rewards they would receive. Curiosity then shifted toward Yuko, prompting interest in how she had known Wraith before their journey. Rather than hiding the truth, Yuko revealed that she had once worked with him in the same workplace and handled part-time duties alone. Hearing that explanation, the others assumed she must have held a minor position because of her modest role. However, Wraith checked her status and realized their assumption was completely wrong, as Yuko possessed remarkable strength and was far from weak. Although Yuko's former job sounded ordinary, Wraith suspected there was more to her background than she revealed. Soon afterward, the group arrived at the forest where they had captured monsters earlier. An idea formed as Wraith planned to merge one of the creatures before returning to the inn. Meanwhile, a spirit ball was suddenly presented, startling Shiel and drawing everyone's attention to the strange item. After checking its properties, Wraith discovered that the spirit ball could be fused with a wolf monster to create a stronger evolution. Without hesitation, the fusion was carried out, resulting in a new fox-like beast, whose improved abilities marked another successful step in monster breeding. The newly evolved monster immediately captured everyone's attention. Its small body and adorable appearance left the group impressed by the fusion result. While admiring the creature, they reflected on how an ordinary wolf had transformed into something unexpectedly charming. Yuuko then explained that Kitsunebi was a rare magical beast associated with fire, and often kept as a familiar among demons. Excitement quickly spread as Carolina eagerly held the fluffy monster, and grew attached to it after only a few moments. Seeing her enthusiasm, Wraith entrusted the creature to her care, though another companion appeared less pleased by the decision. To everyone's surprise, the fusion produced Ketamaro, a rare fluffy beast, whose unusual form concealed remarkable value and potential. Sota and his companion discovered a fluffy monster created from an unusual fusion, unlike the expected result. After examining it closely, he realized the creature was a rare evolution that appeared through a special combination. To his surprise, even a long-lived expert had never encountered such a monster before, proving its extreme rarity. While studying its abilities, Sota found that it lacked useful combat skills, though its defensive power remained impressive. Meanwhile, the woman inspected its soft feathers and flexible body, sensing hidden potential that had yet to be revealed. DDI asked Sota to let the fluffy monster lie on its back. Although confused by her request, he agreed and gave the command. Without hesitation, Dee jumped onto the monster and settled into its thick fur, treating it like a soft cushion. Moments later, she relaxed completely, while the others watched in surprise, unable to understand her sudden excitement. The reason soon became clear. Dee declared the monster's fluffy stomach to be the perfect bed, and claimed it surpassed any bed she had found in the human world. Seeing how happy she was, Sota accepted her request to care for the creature, earning an enthusiastic hug in return. Night fell over the town as Sota reflected on the day's events. By pure chance, he had obtained exactly what Daisy wanted. Back in his room, he noticed Dee's strong attachment to Ketamaro and wondered why the fluffy monster fascinated her so much. Meanwhile, Sota enjoyed a peaceful rest, grateful that the quiet night finally gave him time to recover his energy. Before sleeping, he opened his status screen and reviewed the abilities he had gained from recent monster evolutions. Further inspection revealed a rare and dangerous power called mental manipulation, earned through the unusual evolution earlier that day. After reading the description of mental manipulation, Sota realized the skill was difficult to use in battle and offered little value for defense. Since he was resting safely at the inn, an opportunity appeared to test the ability without any immediate danger. Opening the target selection menu, he considered several candidates and briefly focused on D. A reckless thought crossed his mind as he imagined what the skill might allow him to make her do. Embarrassment quickly replaced curiosity. Despite the temptation, he rejected the idea and decided not to use DEI as an experiment. Unable to control a human target due to insufficient mental power, Sota searched for another option and selected the Mad Mushroom, hoping for a safer test. With the target chosen, he activated mental manipulation and directed his thoughts toward the monster, curious to see whether the skill would succeed. Sota suddenly found himself inside a mushroom monster's body, surrounded by a peaceful landscape. After checking his condition, he remembered using a mental manipulation skill. That discovery helped him understand he was currently inside the monster ball. Curiosity pushed him to explore the space and search for the girls living there. Soon, he located DE peacefully asleep. Seeing her resting in light sleepwear, he understood why she remained so relaxed within the safe environment of the ball. An unexpected idea crossed his mind, and he began considering how to take advantage of this unusual situation. Temptation got the better of Sota as he moved closer to D, convinced he could enjoy the view without any consequences. Before he could act further, Ketamaro suddenly struck and sent the mushroom body flying away from D. The unexpected attack immediately ruined his plan. Meanwhile, DA remained asleep, resting peacefully against Ketamaro, without noticing the disturbance nearby. Realization quickly hit Sota. Ketamaro had seen through his intentions, and getting caught left him feeling completely defeated. As he recovered from the shock, another girl appeared in the area. Her presence shifted his attention, while DEI continued resting under Ketamaro's watch. Carolina gathered the goblins and pushed them through a harsh training session. From a distance, Sota watched the unusual scene unfold. Rather than showing sympathy, she declared that stronger effort would make them worthy servants under Suta's command. Soon, the reason became clear. The goblins' levels had risen rapidly thanks to Caro's relentless training methods. The moment one goblin tried to rest, Carolina immediately stepped in and punished the lack of discipline with a swift kick. Watching her strict approach, Sota felt both surprised and impressed. Meanwhile, the goblins quietly accepted their demanding instructor's authority. Inspired by Caro's training, Sota selected the Goblin Knight as his target and prepared to borrow its body. A Goblin Knight suddenly felt his body become unusually heavy. Standing nearby, Carolina watched calmly as the effect took hold. With a simple gesture, Carolina increased the burden carried by the Goblin Knights. Their movements slowed as the weight multiplied several times over. Soon, the training field filled with struggling Goblin Knights. Every step became harder while Carolina observed the results of her skill. Rather than stopping, she approached one of them and continued the harsh training. The Goblin Knight could barely endure the growing pressure. Moments later, the exhausted knight found himself pinned beneath Caro's boot, completely overwhelmed by the situation. The Goblin Knight remained trapped beneath Caro's foot, yet his attention drifted elsewhere. Noticing his strange gaze, Carolina became flustered and questioned his behavior. Meanwhile, Sota searched through his available monsters and considered a way out of the embarrassing situation. A risky plan soon formed in his mind. Without wasting time, he prepared to transfer his consciousness into another monster body. Escape seemed far more important than enduring another moment. After reviewing his options, Sota selected a kitsune. The small fox-like monster appeared harmless and unlikely to attract suspicion. Kitsune sprinted away across the field, carrying his hopes in that new body. Sota hurried off to continue his search for Shiel. After leaving the training grounds, Sota finally arrived at Seal's house. The sturdy wooden cabin immediately caught his attention and revealed her impressive craftsmanship. Curiosity led the kitsune to the entrance. While exploring the house, Sota became even more amazed by what Seal had built on her own. Soon, the door opened and Seal appeared. Recognizing the kitsune, she warmly welcomed the small monster inside. Instead of armor or work clothes, Seal wore casual clothing after a long day of labor. Signs of exhaustion covered her appearance as she continued her work. Realizing the situation could become troublesome, he hurried toward the house to regain his composure. Comfortably resting in Seal's embrace, Sota seized the opportunity, enjoying the moment while hiding his true identity. Kotaro rested beside the elf girl on the bed, while she noticed how close the fox had become. Suddenly, the fox jumped onto her chest and began seeking attention, pushing her patience to its limit. Laughter escaped as the playful creature continued its antics, leaving her unable to understand its behavior. Meanwhile, Kotaro happily buried its face into the soft cushion and enjoyed the comfort without restraint. Overwhelmed by the fox's affection, she held it tightly while realizing that constant pampering had made Kotaro completely spoiled. Kotaro watched Seal closely and wondered why she treated Kitsune so differently from other creatures. While resting on the bed, the fox noticed her unusual reaction and began suspecting there was a hidden side to her personality. Confidence grew as Kotaro convinced itself that its suspicions might be correct. Without warning, a knock came from outside. Startled by the interruption, Shiel panicked and tried to compose herself. Moments later, Carolina entered the room and found Shiel acting strangely. Confused by the situation, she immediately asked whether something had happened. Carolina's sudden visit forced Seal to hide her embarrassment, though she struggled to act naturally. At the same time, Kotaro sensed a familiar presence nearby and immediately became alert. Curiosity spread through the room as everyone tried to understand what the fox had detected. After thinking carefully, Carolina explained that skilled individuals could notice the presence of spirits even when they remained hidden. A new possibility emerged from the discussion. Rather than being trapped, Sota might have entered the mysterious ball through an unknown monster tamer ability. After considering every possibility, Seal and Carolina agreed that asking Sota directly would reveal the truth. Meanwhile, Sota heard their discussion from inside the ball and felt relieved that his location remained undiscovered. Before leaving, Carolina reminded Seal to be more careful and then headed back for the night. Once they were alone, Kotaro silently criticized Shiel's unusual behavior, leaving her flustered and embarrassed. Elsewhere, Sota reflected on the danger of his abilities. Realizing how easily they could be abused, he decided to use them more responsibly from now on. News of Sota's recent achievement spread through the city. People watched him with curiosity, wondering whether he was truly an ordinary boy. Despite the attention, he remained cautious. Doubts lingered in his mind as he recalled a failed prediction from earlier. Before he could leave, an unfamiliar man approached and called his name. The stranger introduced himself as Guard Westberg, a young hero from a respected family, surprising Suda. Soon afterward, Guard began explaining his noble lineage and heroic background. While listening, Soda grew increasingly puzzled by the sudden flood of information. After hearing Guard's explanation, Soda learned that the hero wanted his help in a future mission against the Demon Lord rather than revealing everything in public. Guard invited him to a tavern that evening and promised to share more details there. Once Guard left, Soda discussed the proposal with his companions. The idea of confronting the Demon Lord alarmed them because their strength was still limited. Unexpectedly, one companion seemed calmer than expected and focused on practical concerns instead of the danger itself. Following a brief discussion, the group agreed that moving quickly would reduce future risks and help them prepare for whatever came next. Carolina dismissed the warning and suggested that the supposed Demon Lord might not be real, although she admitted it was only a guess. She encouraged the group to gather information before making any judgment. After considering the situation, Soda decided to meet Guard. He planned to listen first and withdraw if the danger proved too great. That evening, he arrived at the tavern where Guard was already waiting with confidence. Without wasting time, Guard explained that strange rumors had emerged from the eastern region. Since many powerful adventurers had already left to investigate, he wanted Soda's help in dealing with the mysterious threat. Guard revealed that the threat in the eastern region could be a demon king. The possibility caught Soda off guard, as he had imagined a far different enemy. Soon afterward, Guard mentioned a reward of 30 million seal. Hearing that amount instantly changed Soda's level of interest. As the details became clearer, he learned that defeating the target alone would earn the entire reward. The mission suddenly seemed much more attractive. Motivated by both the cause and the payment, Soda agreed to join the operation and shook hands with Guard. Later that night, he left the tavern while Guard watched from a distance. Unseen by them, a small creature quietly followed behind. Rather than protecting the world, he planned to use Soda as bait against the Demon King and abandon him if the mission became dangerous. Pleased with his scheme, Guard looked forward to the reward and recognition he expected to gain from the operation. Meanwhile, Carolina realized the truth behind Guard's actions. Angered by his selfish motives, she became determined to stop his plan and protect Soda. The next day, Soda and his companions headed toward a mansion linked to their new mission. Before long, the group arrived at the enormous estate. Its abandoned appearance and quiet surroundings made the place feel unsettling. Worry spread among the party. Rumors claimed a demon lord was hiding inside, and some feared the danger waiting beyond the entrance. Despite their concerns, Soda remained calm. He reassured the others while considering whether a real demon lord could truly be there. After sensing the area, one companion noticed the demon lord's magic was absent. With confidence returning, the group prepared to investigate the mansion further. Soda approached the mansion with confidence, trusting Carol's strength. Even so, he stayed cautious and prepared for anything hidden inside. After entering the building, the group found a grand hall. Dust covered the interior, yet the mansion's elegance remained visible. A sudden discovery caught Carol's attention. Towering bookshelves filled with high-quality books stretched across the room, drawing her focus immediately. Excitement replaced her earlier worries. Surrounded by countless books, she imagined spending endless hours reading without ever growing bored. Watching her reaction, Soda realized the library was exactly what Carolina had always wanted. Their decayed appearance and foul smell immediately revealed that they were undead monsters. Disgusted by the creatures, one companion insisted they could not be allowed inside the storage ball. Soda quickly agreed to eliminate them instead. Without hesitation, he summoned Kitsunebi. The fox spirit charged forward and unleashed a fierce attack that engulfed the ghouls in flames. Moments later, the battle ended. The undead monsters were reduced to ashes, leaving the hallway safe once again. After confirming the area was clear, the group advanced deeper into the mansion. A sealed door awaited them, and beyond it rested the demon they had come to find. Clearing the mansion, Soda entered another room and unexpectedly found a young girl changing clothes. Shock quickly turned into confusion. Startled by his appearance, the girl reacted immediately, while the unexpected encounter created an awkward situation. Moments later, both regained their composure. Recognizing each other, they realized this meeting was not a coincidence. As the others watched curiously, the girl explained her connection to the mansion. With many questions still unanswered, the group prepared to hear her story. After demon hunters began pursuing her, she discovered an abandoned mansion and turned it into her base. Later, she revealed that she often visited a cemetery to gather corpses and create new minions. Frustration filled her expression as she admitted that far more adventurers and demon hunters had started targeting her than she expected. Meanwhile, the group learned that the state had placed a large bounty on demon heads, attracting hunters from many places. Concern then shifted to the people who had come to the mansion. Fortunately, those visitors returned safely, leaving the situation unchanged for the moment. Sota learned that the visitors who entered the mansion never returned because Yuko frightened them away with her undead servants. Suddenly, a demon hunter named Guard appeared. Believing Yuko was an easy target, he revealed that he had used Sota as bait to lure the demon into the open. Moments later, more hunters entered the mansion and surrounded the group. Claiming justice was on their side, they prepared to eliminate Yuko and collect the reward. Hearing their dramatic declaration, Sota immediately sensed that the hunters were far from trustworthy. As the tension rose, he reflected on the warning signs he had ignored and regretted being drawn into the hunters' scheme. Realizing the danger, Sota quickly stopped her and searched for another way to handle the situation. Instead of backing down, he summoned a goblin knight to face the hunters. Guard mocked the tiny warrior and dismissed it as an easy opponent. To everyone's surprise, more goblin knights appeared one after another. A small force soon formed in front of Sota, blocking the hunters' path. Shock spread through the room as the hunters learned that controlling so many monsters at once was far beyond normal abilities. Although rattled, Guard encouraged his companions to stand their ground, convinced that a group of goblins could never defeat them. Sota watched as his goblin army charged forward. Equipped with improved gear and strengthened through harsh training, the small warriors overwhelmed the hunters' front line. Across the hall, defeated hunters collapsed one after another. Their confidence faded as they realized these goblins were far stronger than ordinary monsters. Before panic could spread further, an older hunter stepped forward. Determined to protect his comrades, he took command and challenged the demon's forces himself. Moments later, the veteran warrior cut through multiple goblins with ease. His unexpected strength shocked both the hunters and Sota. After defeating several enemies, Guard relied on his powerful splenoid daemon and believed victory was certain. Meanwhile, Sota assessed the situation and released a werewolf to challenge Guard's forces. Without hesitation, the werewolf charged forward and clashed directly with the goblin knight in a fierce exchange. As the battle continued, Guard realized the monster was stronger than expected and began to lose confidence. Then Sota revealed that many more monsters remained inside his capture ball, leaving Guard shocked and unsure of his next move. Guard tried to pull back after realizing the battle was turning against him. Nearby, his allies watched in panic as the werewolf kept the pressure on. Sota refused to let the enemy escape and summoned a mad mushroom to stop their retreat. Soon, the mushroom released a strange powder that spread throughout the room and affected everyone nearby. Before long, the victims lost control of themselves. Confusion filled the hall as the powder caused unexpected feelings and chaotic behavior. Unable to understand what was happening, Guard desperately ordered his demon to stop the disorder while the situation continued to spiral out of control. Under the mushroom's influence, one of Guard's men suddenly confessed his admiration and completely lost his composure. Meanwhile, another affected soldier rushed toward Guard, unable to control the strange feelings caused by the powder. Watching the chaos unfold, Sota calmly revealed that the mad mushroom had been summoned to punish the troublesome group. Soon after, a mysterious girl appeared and praised the outcome, finding the entire situation highly entertaining. Before the conversation could continue, Yuhiko stepped in and scolded the girl for her disrespectful attitude, quickly restoring order around Sota. After the incident, the group discussed the consequences. Rumors about a demon living in the mansion had already spread, and stronger hunters would likely arrive soon. Rather than worrying about the mansion itself, Yuliko explained that demons were destined to be hunted wherever they went. Hearing her words, Sota noticed that Yuliko seemed different from when they first met and quietly reflected on her situation. A new idea then came to him. He suggested finding a larger and safer place where demons could live without fear. Interested by the proposal, the others listened closely as Sota asked to be shown the location, hoping to put his plan into action. Suddenly, the small demon girl was pulled towards Sota's capture ball before she could understand what was happening. Meanwhile, Sota revealed that his plan was to give Yuliko and the other demons a safe place to live without fear. Moments later, the capture succeeded. The tiny wraith ended up inside the ball, leaving everyone surprised while Sota proudly gained a new companion. A week later, Sota purchased the grand mansion where Yukiko once lived, giving his group a spacious new home. Because rumors of a demon lord spread through the area, property values collapsed, allowing him to buy the estate for only a fraction of its true worth. Nearly all of his mining earnings were spent on the purchase, yet the exchange felt worthwhile. After settling the deal, he proudly reflected on completing Carol's final wish and fulfilling every promise he had made. Before he could relax, the mansion's cleaning work demanded attention, and his companions quickly pulled him into helping. Across the mansion, everyone worked together on a massive cleaning effort. Even the goddess and the demon joined the task, leaving Sota puzzled by the unusual sight. While dust and dirt disappeared from the halls, the group quietly continued their work. A brief exchange caught attention, but nothing more came of it. Hours later, the mansion finally regained its former beauty. Relief spread through the group as they admired the spotless interior. After assigning private rooms and returning everyone's belongings, Sota felt satisfied with the new arrangement. Just as he expected a quiet rest, a sudden feeling made him realize the day was not over yet. Night finally arrived, and Sota looked forward to a peaceful rest in the mansion. Instead, several girls ended up sharing his bed. Deep in their sleep, the girls instinctively moved closer to him. Their relaxed expressions showed they felt completely at ease in their new home. Outside, the mansion stood quiet beneath the night sky. Although everyone now had private rooms, Sota realized his daily life had barely changed. Morning came with unexpected urgency. Before he could fully wake up, hurried footsteps echoed through the halls. Moments later, alarming news shattered the calm atmosphere. Carolina had been captured by an intruder, forcing Sota into action once again. The alarming report left Sota stunned. Without wasting time, he followed the goddess deeper into the mansion to investigate Carol's disappearance. Stranger explained that she had come seeking information about a demon rumored to live in the northern settlement. From nearby, another resident noticed the scene and hurried closer. Confused by the unexpected confrontation unfolding inside the mansion, as the situation became clear, the visitor could not hide her disbelief. A human and a demon were living together under the same roof. Silence briefly filled the hall. Watching the exchange, the young girl struggled to understand what would happen next. A mysterious woman arrived at the mansion. Recognizing a familiar face, Sota realized the long-missing master had finally returned. After returning, Seal thanked Sota for protecting her during the incident in St. Bell City and explained what had happened. Hearing the details, Sota learned that the demon Carolina had also assisted Seal when she was captured by the Merchant Guild. Meanwhile, Seal defended Carolina's character and praised the guild's bravery despite its poor reputation. Although relieved by her reasonable attitude, Sota noticed something troubling and felt uneasy. Without warning, Seal stepped forward and struck Carolina, turning the calm discussion into a sudden confrontation. Seal rejected Carolina's actions and warned Sota that demons could not be trusted. In her eyes, no demon deserved to be called good. Stepping forward, she defended herself and argued that Seal's judgment was clouded by personal hatred. Rather than backing down, Seal launched another attack. Carolina easily avoided the strike and began taking the fight seriously. Dark wings spread from Carolina's back as she entered her vampire form. The sudden transformation caught Seal and the others off guard. Moments later, she landed a decisive blow. Defeated and wounded, Seal collapsed while Carolina calmly admitted she had been holding back her true strength. After the fight ended, Sota asked why Seal hated demons so deeply. A painful memory immediately resurfaced in her mind. Back when she was an adventurer in St. Bell City, Seal traveled with 5 companions. During one mission, they encountered Rumel, a powerful demon serving the Demon King's army. Despite their experience, the group stood no chance against the overwhelming enemy. One by one, her comrades fell before her eyes. Since that tragedy, Seal dedicated her life to hunting demons. Determined to avenge her friends, she vowed to wipe them out completely. Listening to the story, Sota finally understood the source of her hatred, while the others quietly reflected on her loss. Later, Seal apologized to the elf girl and admitted that she had left St. Bell City. After returning, Seal thanked Sota for protecting her during the incident in St. Bell City and explained what had happened. Hearing the details, Sota learned that the demon Carolina had also assisted Seal when she was captured by the Merchant Guild. Meanwhile, Seal defended Carolina's character and praised the guild's bravery despite its poor reputation. Although relieved by her reasonable attitude, Sota noticed something troubling and felt uneasy. Without warning, Seal stepped forward and struck Carolina, turning the calm discussion into a sudden confrontation. Seal rejected Carolina's actions and warned Sota that demons could not be trusted. In her eyes, no demon deserved to be called good. Stepping forward, she defended herself and argued that Seal's judgment was clouded by personal hatred. Rather than backing down, Seal launched another attack. Carolina easily avoided the strike and began taking. Sota arrived at the casino alone, hoping to avoid attention while investigating the place. Unexpectedly, Dei followed him and insisted on staying nearby because she feared the dangers inside. Meanwhile, townspeople discussed the casino's sudden success and the disappearance of the former merchant guild leader. Hearing those rumors, Sota connected them to past events and began questioning what had truly happened. With growing confidence, he approached the casino entrance and prepared to uncover the crimes hidden behind its prosperous image. Upon entering the casino, Sota was stunned by the luxurious hall and the many bunny girls serving guests. Soon after, a well-dressed man approached and introduced the casino while explaining its unusual system. To Sota's surprise, the female staff were treated as prizes that gamblers could obtain through the casino's games. The man then revealed himself as Roth, the vice leader of the Merchant Guild and the casino's current owner. Hearing the details, Sota realized the business had turned people into rewards using their exploitation to attract gamblers and increase profits. After meeting Roth, Sota noticed something unusual. His appraisal showed only his age, leading him to suspect that Roth was actually a demon in disguise. Meanwhile, DEI reminded him that they needed to gather more information before making a move against their enemy. A different thought soon crossed Sota's mind, as he wondered whether DE had simply come along to enjoy the casino. Moments later, she indirectly confirmed his suspicion, leaving him speechless. Several hours passed inside the casino. By the end of it, Sota sat exhausted and disappointed after losing a large amount of money. Hers of gambling left Sota confused. Although he had been winning earlier, his luck suddenly disappeared during the final rounds. Before long, Dei rushed over in tears and admitted that she had lost her money as well. Rather than getting angry, Sota comforted her and pointed out that their losses were still small compared to the fortune they carried. Guilt continued to weigh on Dee as she confessed that she had spent all the savings she brought into the casino. That revelation left Sota completely stunned. Moments later, the pair realized they had wasted nearly everything and were now broke. Sota brought Dee to a mansion and confronted her about losing all their gambling money. Embarrassed, she feared he had brought her there for punishment, but he revealed he wanted to recover the large amount they had lost. Instead of blaming bad luck, Sota questioned why their winnings kept shrinking despite repeated victories. A possibility suddenly came to mind. Suspicion grew as he considered that the staff might be secretly taking their money. Dee recalled hearing about guests being treated unfairly and forced to cover losses through a cruel system. Determined to uncover the truth, Sota asked Dee to monitor his condition while he prepared to expose the fraud. After forming a plan, Sota decided to investigate the building from the outside. To do that, he needed Kitsunebi, a small and agile monster, using his mind control ability. He prepared to transfer his consciousness into the monster. Daishi listened in surprise as he explained the method. Without warning, Sota leaned close to Dei while focusing on the skill. The sudden action left her completely startled. Kitsunebi. Sota slipped away to gather evidence. Meanwhile, several employees mocked a wealthy blonde woman and laughed behind her back. Hearing their conversation, he realized the workers looked down on guests and assumed nobody would notice their dishonest behavior. While searching the building, Sota overheard employees bragging that guests never noticed their card, switching tricks powered by illusion magic. Hidden nearby, Kitsunebi listened as another worker arrived. Their conversation confirmed that dark magic was being used to deceive customers. One employee proudly admitted taking a huge amount of money from her through the scheme. The supervisor immediately lost his patience. Furious at the greed and carelessness, he struck the worker and demanded an explanation. A darker truth emerged. Guests who could not repay their debts were forced into slavery, and the blonde woman had already been marked as their next victim. The supervisor continued berating his subordinate, blaming him for losing potential profits and treating him as worthless. After the outburst, he coldly declared that dealing with humans was nothing but a burden and left the room. Watching from hiding, Sota grew furious. The casino's corruption clearly came from the supervisor, whose influence had twisted everyone beneath him. Several days later, Carolina reflected on a familiar presence she had sensed before, finally understanding its source. After selling property and collecting funds, they prepared for their next move while discussing the demon whose presence could no longer be detected. Back at the casino, Sota risked all his remaining money, determined to recover his losses and expose the fraud. At a crowded gambling hall, Sota drew everyone's attention after placing an enormous wager. Meanwhile, the dealer nervously confirmed the rules one last time. Across the table, Sota remained calm and committed to seeing the gamble through. After receiving approval, he took his seat and prepared for the match. The atmosphere grew tense as both sides readied themselves. While the dealer shuffled the cards, Sota noticed unusual confidence in his opponent. Suspicion lingered, but he stayed focused. His hand was revealed to be disappointingly weak. Even so, he carefully considered his next move instead of panicking. Despite drawing another poor hand, Sota stayed composed and chose to exchange his cards. Confidence remained on the dealer's side as the game continued. At that moment, Carolina used her illusion magic to support him. Weak cards gradually appeared stronger, transforming the situation in Sota's favor. Shock spread across the hall as spectators realized the unbelievable result and the enormous reward attached to it. Soon after, Sota figured out that his opponent had been manipulating probability with magic. Accusations quickly followed, but no evidence could be found. While the dealer demanded an explanation, Sota calmly accepted his victory as confusion filled the room. The gambling hall fell silent after Sota's victory. While one employee desperately apologized to his superior, the manager watched the outcome with a cold expression. Shortly afterward, the manager invited Sota to a private room to discuss the enormous prize money. Upon entering, Sota noticed several guards already waiting inside. The manager calmly welcomed him, but the atmosphere felt increasingly hostile. Rather than handing over the winnings, the manager revealed his true intentions. A hidden weapon appeared as he moved closer under the guise of negotiation. Without warning, the manager launched an attack. Surprise flashed across Sota's face as the peaceful meeting instantly turned into a life-threatening confrontation. Sota immediately realized the invitation had been a trap. Facing the manager, he demanded an explanation while sensing the hostility surrounding him. The manager dropped all pretense and revealed his greed. Surrounded by armed guards, he ordered Sota to hand over every coin he had won. Seeing the threat clearly, he reached for one of his monster capsules and readied a counterattack. In an instant, a group of goblin knights appeared across the room. The sudden summon caught the guards completely off guard and disrupted their assault. Steel clashed as the monsters charged forward. Panic replaced confidence on the manager's face when he realized he was hopelessly outnumbered. After the guards fell, the casino manager revealed his true vampire form, exposing the power he had concealed all along.